Year's Eve, and as is the tradition in the BBL, the Adelaide Oval is hosting this festive fixture to see out 2020, and it's quite a familiar one as well, it has to be said, because 3 days ago the Adelaide Strikers took on the Perth Scorchers at this venue, and the match was won quite comfortably by the hosts. But as is the nature in this year's competition, bio bubbles and different venues having to host more matches in succession than they would otherwise do means that we do have a little run of fixtures where we do get a bit of repetition, but that creates its own storylines and own little developed lines of narrative that can keep us very interested as we watch the tournament progress. For the Strikers, well, that strong performance to see of the Scorchers last time, 71 runs was the margin. That made it 3 wins from their last 4 matches, with Phil Salt in particular, the Sussex batsman, playing really well. He made 51 from 31 deliveries, as Adelaide made 165 for 8 from their 20 overs. Perth Scorchers, meanwhile, their winless start to Big Bash League 10 continued as they were beaten in this last match. There were some good bowling performances. Jai Richardson picked up 3 wickets for 30, but despite making a good start in the run chase, they collapsed to 94 all out, and only 4 players made it to double figures. There is a little bit of encouragement in the fact that they've got Jason Roy and Liam Livingstone in their batting lineup, but both were some of those that made it to double figures, and in fact were the leading run scorers in the innings. Roy with 21, Livingstone 22, but in the end they couldn't quite get going for long enough, and the team fell well short. We're not quite at the stage for the Perth Scorchers where it is must win, but we're getting to the sort of point where they need to do something to keep hopes alive of making it to the back end stages of this competition. Both sides are unchanged from that match 3 days ago. I'll go through the lineouts very briefly. Phil Salt, Jake Weatherall for the Strikers, Matt Renshaw, Alex Carey as the captain and wicketkeeper, John O'Wells, Matt Short, Rashid Khan, the ICC T20 Player of the Decade, Dan Worrell, Peter Siddle, Danny Briggs and Wes Agar. The X-Factor substitutes are Harry Conway and Ryan Gibson. For the Scorchers, it's Joss Inglis who opens and keeps wicket, Jason Roy, Liam Livingstone, Colin Munro, Mitch Marsh, Ashton Turner is the captain, Aaron Hardy, Jai Richardson, Andrew Tye, Jason Berendorf and Fawad Ahmed. The X-Factor subs, Joel Paris and Curtis Patterson. As a couple of days ago, the Scorchers have won the bat flip and elected to bowl first. It didn't go well for them last time. Let's see what happens on this occasion. I'm delighted to say alongside me, former England batsman and Perth Scorchers BBL winner Michael Carberry. They've got to do something, the Scorchers. Carbs, something has to change. Is today the day it's going to happen?
Happy New Year.
Almost. We're getting
Happy
there.
New Year Eve. Yeah, it's for me, they have to get something going, the Perth Scorchers. They've been very poor in this tournament today. I think that goes without saying. Winless. They are a very proud sector of Australia in terms of their cricket heritage, and particularly in this tournament. So there'll be a lot of disappointment, I'd imagine, amongst the coaching structure. There's various reasons, I suppose, why it hasn't happened. I guess really, as an onlooker, they just missed that complete performance with ball and bat. They just haven't bowled well in partnerships. They haven't batted well in partnerships. Been okay in the field, but as you know, 2020 is a game of fine margins. You need all facets to click, and it hasn't quite gone their way. So they'll be buoyed, as you say, by the inclusion of Jason Roy and by Liam Livingstone to bolster that batting. I felt it was needed, really. They needed some more firepower, some more experience in that lineup, but they do need that collective performance. You do feel it's just lacked. 1 or 2 individuals have had moments of brilliance, but just need a real team performance today.
Winning's a habit, losing's a habit as well.
Yeah.
It's quite hard to turn that ship round when you start a tournament as they have done.
Yeah, it is, especially in this. 2020 can be brutal, as I full well know. When it's got you down, it keeps you down. But I think where they've got to start with is just doing the basic things well. I think I said that on there a couple of days ago. They're just missing the basic fundamentals. You've got to bat in partnerships. You can't lose wickets in clusters when you're batting. Take smart options. Fields go back. Prepare to take the ones, especially when you've just lost the wicket. Find the length. Be brave with your lengths. They got a little bit short here in the first initial overs, and Phil Salt got away, a couple of cracking pull shots over that short boundary. You look at the ground dimensions as a bowler, you don't want to be bowling short on this pitch.
The countdown has happened, not the last time we'll have a big countdown today, I sense. And Weatherald will be on strike as Jai Richardson sprints in and bowls to the left-handed batsman, lets it go through to Inglis behind the stumps, and a dot ball to start things off. Jai Richardson, who picked up that 3 for 30 in the last match. He's been an outstanding bowler over recent times for the Perth Scorchers. I know it is a cold and frosty morning across much of the UK, but the sun is shining in Adelaide. There's about just over 5 hours until the new year is seen in South Australia. And as I mentioned at the start of the programme, Adelaide Oval has become somewhat of a tradition for New Year's Eve. It's the venue that they choose to go to in Big Bash League cricket. Weatherald waiting, working the ball round the corner for 4. Just helped it on its way. It was just a little leg side-ish, and he just needed to get something on it. No protection on the fine leg boundary, and the strikers are up and running. 4 without loss.
Yeah, again, not a great start from Jai Richardson. He really got to try and hit his straps. You know, stop these Adelaide strikers, batsmen getting away to a flyer, just getting that one slightly wrong down the leg side, and a bit of thigh pad, it looks like, just tucked away for 4. So strikers will be happy with that.
Yeah, it wasn't out for the bat or the gloves, so it is nothing onto the total for Weatherald. 4 byes to kick things off for the strikers. And Weatherald, he's cut in half by that. There's an appeal for a caught behind. I heard a noise. It may have just been that thigh pad on the left leg. It's a good ball, though.
That's a great ball, and that's where the Perth Scorchers got to be. You know, we saw with Mitch Marsh, he was brave. He bowled that fuller length, attacked the stumps. Looks like a bit of shape there off the seam. You know, cramp these strikers, batsmen. They all want to sit back on that pull shot and cut shot, utilising those short square boundaries.
Weatherald has a little look at the pitch, and Jai Richardson turns in the shadows and then emerges into sunlight. And the orange of the Perth Scorchers bowling to Weatherald, who is a leading edge into the offside. He's going to run out towards deep point. And 1 run will be added. So 5 without loss, 2 balls left of the first over. Maybe just a hint that there's a bit of something, life in this pitch.
Yeah, it's tended to go that way in the Big Bash, hasn't it? The first over or 2 it's almost sat in the pitch a little bit, stood up, which is why I feel you've got to be brave with your lengths. Encourage the batters to try and hit you off your lengths. If you get too short, I think the batsmen feel more comfortable with the ball going into the pitch, short of a length. Where you get a little bit fuller, asking you to do a little bit more, move your feet a little bit more, which obviously is not ideal.
Salt on strike, Sussex batsman who's hitting the ball. Beautiful timing immediately from Phil Salt, lofting it down the ground. He's going to get 4. Clears the fielder at mid-off, and that's a brilliant shot. That's
a proper shot first ball, isn't it? He's full of confidence now, Phil Salt. You can tell after his 50 the other day, he batted beautifully. And again, you know what I love about Phil Salt, he's very still. You know, he's not a batsman who moves around a lot around the crease. He keeps his head very still, body movements very still, very, very precise, hits through the line, very clean ball strike. But that was a beautiful shot.
9 without loss, Salt on strike still. He's whipping it into the leg side. Could be a chance of a catch. Easy as you like for Liam Livingstone. And Salt goes. He timed it well. He just found the hands of the fielder at square leg. And a wicket falls to the final ball of the over. Salt goes for 4. It is 9 for 1 after 1.
That was a real shame, wasn't it? It was there to hit. I think on reflection, I think Phil Salt would probably say he should have gone through with the shot, and if he did, he probably would have cleared it. But he sort of half helped it, pulled out of the shot really, almost checked it, and that was a real disappointment for him, because I'm sure he would have wanted to capitalise on that good form. But ideal start for the Scorchers. We asked for an early wicket, and we've got one, so hopefully they can build on this.
Yep, 9 for 1 after 1, 4 from 2 for Phil Salt, which is always a score I like to see that sort of score from a night watchman. 2 balls faced, but with at least 1 boundary. Yeah.
He doesn't mess around, Phil Salt.
6 from 2, stumped, something like that. That's always fun. Matt Renshaw comes to the middle and joins the action. We've got one young England batsman departing, who was born in Wales and grew up in Barbados, and then one Australian batsman coming to the middle who was born in Middlesbrough. Go figure.
I'll tell you what I am loving. I'm loving the fact that these younger players are embracing these retro stickers. See, the power spot, Gray Nichols power spot for Matt Renshaw.
It's good to see. We're going to see somebody walking out with one of the sort of like, you know, WG Grace bats that looks like a sort of toothpick at some point.
Yeah, definitely. You know, the one I'm waiting for, Duncan Fernley. Someone to come out with the Duncan Fernley Colt or something like that. Do you remember that?
Yeah, now you're talking.
Yeah, or the Graham Hick 405.
Yeah. Those iconic.
Yeah.
Ones from yesteryear.
That's the one. That's the one.
It's all about the retro, you see.
Old school is good school, as always.
Start of the second over, 9 for 1. And we're going to see Weatherald on strike and whipping the ball into the leg side immediately, but finds the fielder. And there's just a single. Behrendorff starts the second over of this game. 10 for 1 is the Adelaide Strikers score. The Strikers all in blue, this very bold blue, and around the ground those that have made it into the Adelaide Oval, a good number as well. They're wearing the blue in the large pie. Saw one fan in a Liverpool shirt earlier on, which was a bit of a surprise.
Wrong ground.
Yeah, you were meant to go left, not right. 10 for 1. Behrendorff. Just Renshaw to face his first delivery. Two left-handers at the crease, and immediately the call of no run as he defends into the ground. And this has been an encouraging start for the Scorchers. You know, one boundary, but
yeah, absolutely. I think what they've done, they've straight away they've tightened their lines. They haven't given that width which you saw in the first game, and also they bowled a bit fuller. You've seen that they haven't bowled too many drag downs. I know they got a wicket off a bit of a drag down, but generally been fuller.
Behrendorff once more charging in, this into the leg side, nicely timed, pulled away. Work to do for Livingston in the deep. He throws well into the gloves of the keeper, Inglis. One more added, and Weatherald will be on strike. 2 from 5, so a little bit of a slow start from Weatherald. He has got a BBL century. He's a powerful striker, certainly can get going, but he'll be quite keen to just perhaps find the boundary in the next few deliveries to settle any concerns he might have. Behrendorff into Weatherall. He's beaten by one that just has a little bit of shape away. Flies through to the keeper. 11 for 1 it remains. Really good over from Behrendorff, just 2 from it.
Yeah, good start from Jason Behrendorff. Getting a little bit of swing, that's what he's renowned for, and you feel that's the length he's got to really bowl. He's felt like in the first game he was searching for a length. He didn't quite get it right, but that's much better. That's what we're more accustomed to with someone like him, bringing the batter forward.
Weatherald on strike as Behrendorff is in once more, driven away. You can hear from the reaction from the crowd. They like that. A booming drive through the covers for 4. That'll settle any nerves he might have had. It's 15 for 1.
Oof, that was crunch, wasn't it? It's right up there in the slot. Not a bad ploy from Behrendorff. I mean, that is what he's renowned for, to getting the ball up there for a bit of swing, but just probably getting a little bit too full and too wide, and Weatherall just throwing the hands, absolutely crunching that through extra cover. It's a fine shot.
Behrendorff to finish his over, 15 for 1 with Weatherald on 6. Behrendorff into him again, leading edge, which has looped out into the offside, but drops safely, and the over comes to an end. 6 runs from it, 15 for 1 after 2. Weatherald on 6, Renshaw on 1. The wickets to have fallen, that of Phil Salt, departing for 4 from 2 deliveries. One glorious launch down the ground for 4, but then he was caught by Liam Livingston on the boundary edge, square of the wicket on the leg side. The Adelaide Oval is, as you might expect, looking an absolute picture. The grass banks have plenty of supporters on it, loads in the blue and red seats around the ground as well. It has become a tradition for for New Year's Eve, I should say, to be the venue that the BBL host match is on, and there'll be all sorts of events going on across Adelaide in the coming hours as New Year comes and celebrations take place, and then later on in the day, of course.
One of my favourite grounds in Australia, I have to say, after the Wacker, of course.
Of course, your loyalty to the Scorchers.
Of course. I can see why Australians hold it in such high esteem, the Adelaide Oval. It's a very beautiful place, beautiful ground to play cricket at.
Aaron Hardy is going to bowl the 3rd over of the match. 15 for 1. He's running in right arm round the wicket to Renshaw, who's defending watchfully, and there's a bit of a stop-start, but they will get through for a single. 16 for 1. Hardy up and running, tall figure, powerfully built, and digging it into the pitch.
Yeah, it's an interesting change. I thought they may have gone again another over with Jai Richardson, seeing that he just got the wicket. It's an interesting tactic. I thought you'd have been at this stage trying to knock over at least another one of these guys, with Jai Richardson being one of your top wicket takers in the comp to date. But he's gone with young Hardy, who didn't bowl actually too badly in the previous game.
Hardy
start well.
Charging in again, his long strides, short sleeves, bowling to Weatherall, who can do nothing with the delivery right on middle stump. It's defended into the onside. Aaron Hardy, 21 years old. Week or so he turns 22. He's from Bournemouth in Dorset. Another England, another one that's got away.
We're getting everywhere now, aren't we?
Another one that's got away.
Can't get rid of us.
He's somebody that made his BBL debut last year for the Scorchers and is becoming a regular fixture in this side. He's bowling to Weatherall. It's spooned up in the air. Surely it's going to be a catch. Keeper underneath it. Inglis. There you go. Another wicket falls and both openers go. Weatherall for 6. Hardy strikes and the bowling change. Well, it has worked. 16 for 2.
I stand corrected. It was a brilliant piece of captaincy to bring on Hardy. But he's bowled really well. I like the fact he's had to think about coming round the wicket as well, which is obviously cramped someone like Weatherall. He likes width. He's kept that tight line to his body, and maybe due to, I'm not sure if it's a used pitch we're using today, but it looked to just sort of sit up a little bit. Didn't quite come onto the bat, and he spooned it up in the air. So that's a great start. That's exactly what the Perth Scorchers would have talked about, trying to get some early wickets in this power play.
Weatherall disappears down the tunnel, walking past a rather pensive
disgruntled
looking
captain.
Yeah, Peter Siddle, arms across his chest, looking a little frustrated. And 2 wickets down with not yet 3 overs bowled. That sort of normally spells trouble for a side. 3, I mean, the normal wisdom is that if you lose 3 in the power play overs that typically are 6 overs, then you tend to lose the match. But because, of course, the power play overs have shifted in this year's competition, the first 4 and then the power surge, the 2 you can take after the 10th over, there isn't quite necessarily, that mathematics doesn't work in quite the same way, perhaps. Carey is not on strike because the batsman crossed with the previous delivery, so Renshaw, working the ball into the leg side, will pick up another run to move on to 3. 17 for 2, but Alex Carey back in the side for second match in succession, having come in after various commitments elsewhere. Of course, a key part of the Australian side now. He's a dangerous BBL player. He's got over 1,200 runs in his BBL career and has been a mainstay of this striker's side, the wicketkeeper batsman. Another left-hander.
Yeah, I think he's a very good player, Alex Carey. What I've seen of him, I've spoken to Justin Langer about him as well. He rates him very, very highly as well. Very, very good young player. You'd think won't be too long before he's donning a baggy green at some point.
No. Carey waiting and defending in confident fashion. That might, if he wasn't wearing the coloured clothing, that was a sort of defensive shot you could see in a test match, on the money and defended into the leg side. The problem he's got, I suppose, Carey, as a wicketkeeper, is the captain has the gloves in Tim Payne. But, you know, he's, I'm sure, perfectly adept at fielding.
One for the future, perhaps, I would have thought. He'd be certainly on the selectors' radar, I would have thought.
Carey on strike as Hardy is into him, driven into the offside, beats the fielder at backward point and runs out to Livingston in the deep. He slings the ball in, baseball style, as the over concludes. 18 for 2 after 3. As a bit of Brian Adams rings around the Adelaide Oval. It's been a decent start for the Perth Scorchers. We've not said that too often this campaign. We've not said that too often, actually, in the last couple of years. They've had a really rough time of it. And the success that was shown in early editions of the competition, and you were part of that side, Michael, it's just drifted away in recent times. They'll be desperate for a win to finish the year. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, look, you can't replace some of the players that have, let's say, retired, moved on. But I suppose, you know, it's getting back to those good old-fashioned basics, which no doubt in their sort of analysis of the last performances, they would have had to have sort of had a good review of where they're at and you know, their all-round cricket. As I said, they've just got to get that partnership going, which they've done beautifully so far. The bowlers have bowled in tandem with one another, and they've made it difficult for the strikers to get away so far.
Carrier on 1. Behrendorff is into him, on the pads, into the leg side. He works the ball behind square for 1. And no more. The pitch now covered in shadow, drifting across the ground. The floodlights have been shining brightly for the last hour or so, without necessarily needing to be, but the sun is beginning to set across South Australia, and so it won't be too long before they'll be required. 19 for 2 into the 4th over of this game, with Behrendorff bowling his 2nd over, charging into Renshaw, who's working the ball into the leg side. That's nicely timed. The outfield's quick, the fielder's quick, but the ball wins the race. Liam Livingstone can't get across, and it is a much welcomed boundary for this Adelaide Oval crowd to enjoy. 23 for 2, Renshaw's on to 7.
Yeah, they'll just break up some of the pressure for the strikers that was building. Behrendorff wasn't a bad ball really, to be honest. It was on a good length, a little bit of shape, and Matt Renshaw just whipping that through mid-wicket. I mean, good signs that this is a terrific batting wicket.
Behrendorff to Renshaw. Ooh, beauty. Beats the outside edge, just a little bit of shape away, flying through to Inglis. And the batsman can't do much with that.
Yeah, that's a beautiful leg from Jason Behrendorff. Great comeback as well. You know, again, being brave. We talked about it. You know, pitching the ball up. Don't be scared. It was a great shot, ball before. I think, you know, hats off to the batsman, but good on Jason Behrendorff for backing his skill and getting the ball on that fuller length again.
Renshaw
drive,
waiting. Powerfully built man. He's hammering the ball into the leg side behind square. The crowd like that. They think another boundary might be coming, and it is. Again, Livingstone is the man in pursuit, this time running behind square, but he can't get there. And Renshaw has another 4. He's on to 11. It's 27 for 2. 2 balls left of the 4th over.
Yeah, just getting away from the plan a bit there. Jason Behrendorff probably getting that one a little bit wrong, a little bit too short on this pitch. As I said, these strikers, batsmen, they're well adept at the pull shot. You know, they all like to sit back, utilise those short square boundaries. You've got to get the ball up on the drive.
Behrendorff to Renshaw. Again, left arm over, and Renshaw beaten. It's been a pattern in this over. Boundary, beauty.
Something about that fuller ball, isn't it?
Yeah. Feet went nowhere.
Keep it there, Jason. Do not change a thing. That was a beautiful delivery. Just left him off the seam. That's what he can do.
1 ball left of the 4th over. Behrendorff in the shadows, running in. And there's going to be 1 if they're quick. Throw misses at the non-striker's end. Oh, overthrows as well. They'll get through for 1 extra run. You can understand why the fielder went for the throw. Actually, probably the blame lies with the fielder backing up. And it allows 1 extra run to be taken at the end of the over. So Carey will have the strike at the start of the 5th. It's 29 for 2, and the initial power play comes to an end, and you'd probably say first round to the Perth Scorchers.
Yeah, I would say so, yeah. They would have been more than pleased with this start compared to, let's say, a few days ago where Phil Salt and Weatherall got after them a little bit. I would say this is a marked improvement, but again, you know, some of the tactics, I mean, Behrendorff has shown he's getting a little bit of shape and a little bit of swing and no slip, you know, to Matt Renshaw. You think, again, you know, you're missing little opportunities to really, you know, grab this game by the scruff of the neck. You know, to if you knock over one of these 2 guys, suddenly 3 for 30, you're right in there. So yeah, let's see how the innings pans out, but now looks like a bit of a change of pace.
Yeah, Ashton Turner's going to bowl. He's clubbed down the ground. 2 wide, long off for a single from Alex Carey to move the score to 30 for 2. Ashton Turner's only bowled the 1 over so far in the tournament, but his part-time off breaks being utilised in this 5th over. Renshaw on 13, a little bit of a quicker one. That might be why it's part-time. That's horribly wide down the leg side.
And I think this is what the shortened power play forces now. You know, you almost have to have that utility bowler to sort of get through a few overs so you can hold your better bowlers for when that surge comes, which could bring Harry Carey, as we know, if 2 batters collar your lesser string bowlers.
Single added as Turner comes in again. This is outside the off stump, chopped away and well stopped at backward point by Mitch Marsh, tumbling to his right. So there's just 1 more added. It's 33 for 2. We're midway through the 5th over of the innings. We're hearing from Kevin Howells at the end of the over. Turner bowling to Renshaw, slightly within himself, nothing too expansive, just an easy clip into the leg side, and running in from the sunshine is Munro to pick up and throw. Carey on strike, 34 for 2. Turner quickly into his work once more. Carey, down the ground it goes, and it's well stopped by the bowler. Just a little cry of catch it from behind the stumps as the ball is aerial for a moment. Here comes Turner, 5 from the over so far, but the over concludes with a boundary because that's beautifully played from Alex Carey, lofting it away over cover. He picks up 4, the over comes to an end. 38 for 2 is the score after 5, 9 from the over. Michael Carberry, former Scorchers batsman, some thoughts from you, and then Kevin Howes will take up commentary.
Yeah, Ashton Turner, just a bit of a poor delivery, really, offering up too much width. Obviously not much spin with the newish ball. And a great shot from Alex Carey, just opening up, giving himself a bit of room and flaying it over extra cover. But yeah, I think the Perth Scorchers will, be happy with that start. 38 for 2 off 5. The innings certainly hasn't got away with them. You think 1 wicket, 2 wickets, they certainly would say they've got the better end of things. But these 2 strikers, batsmen, have played really, really well. They've played controlled, recognised the situation.
Behrendorff in and bowls, and that is just pushed into the offside, and there will be no run. Good morning to you, Carbs.
Good morning, Kevin. How are you?
Yeah, I'm in good form. It's a bit cold. It's a bit snowy. It's a bit icy in Great Britain, but beautiful weather in Adelaide for the New Year's Eve traditional fixture. This has turned out to be, and also playing for the Jason Gillespie Trophy, which has also become part of this tradition, as well as the last few hours of 1 year disappears. Behrendorff in and bowls, and Renshaw will drive that into the offside. They'll have to scamper through for a single, and that they do. And after 5.2 overs, the score is 39 for 2 with Carey and Renshaw. So Behrendorff continuing to bowl. I was a bit surprised not to see Mitchell Marsh come on at that point. He did a terrific job in stemming the runs. They got off to a really good start in the fixture just a couple of nights ago. He did a terrific job, Marsh. He was just back from injury, but we saw Turner instead at the end of that 4th over. Next delivery is pushed into the offside again by Carey, and he will have to settle for a dot ball there. You're talking about Carey and his future. It surprises me because he's got the face of an 18-year-old, hasn't he, Alex Carey? But he's actually 29 years old, and obviously a lot of cricket still left in him, an awful lot of cricket still left in him, but not quite as young as that baby face suggests, possibly. But he's on 8 not out, run a ball 8 so far for the Adelaide Strikers. Just holds up the bowler Behrendorff just for a moment. Someone just behind the bowler's arm, but now he's ready. So Behrendorff, left arm, comes over the wicket in and bowls and played defensively onto the onside, and again no run. As Henry was explaining earlier, the right rock bottom of the group of 8 teams at the moment in the table of the Perth Scorchers. We're not quite at must win technically and mathematically, but really in terms of confidence, in terms of really trying to get going, desperate. They're in a desperate position at the moment to get a victory. So let's see if they can pull one off here this evening, as Behrendorff again comes in to bowl, in and bowls, and just off the bottom end of the bat, he actually gets that away very nicely in the end, quite a way. He was looking, I think, to work that maybe a little square, and it went, but it's ended up there at long on, and Carey will get a single. He moves to 9, and the score now at 40 for 2. 1 ball left of this 6th over, but a reminder, this is not the power play. The power play finishes after 4 overs. One of the innovations of the competition this season. And Renshaw now on 16. He's looking for a big score in the competition this year. 16 not out. Will he get one this evening? We wait and see. He's going to get at least one more run there, and just one more up towards the long on boundary. So he moves to 17, and the score, and it's a no ball as well. And the score after, 41 for 2, but it's back to 5.5 overs now, because Behrendorff's got a bowl again, and the umpire just getting a little bit frustrated because nobody's looking at him. Look, is nobody looking at me? Oh, that was a long way over for the no ball, a long way over. So he has to go again. It's going to be a free hit as well.
Yeah, this could be a big ball, Phil.
So Behrendorff just waits, having annoyingly from his point of view, just overstretched there. So Carey it is who's facing in and bowls, and he will just concede the one. They'll maybe try and push on, come back for a second, but they have to settle for that one. So just, if you like, the damage was limited there. Carey 10, Renshaw 17, and the score is 43 for 2 after 6 overs. Very much early stages of the innovations, but already, Michael Carberry, I am thinking to myself, I'm going to be really disappointed if other T20 competitions, and including international T20s, don't take this idea of this 2-over power surge forward quite quickly in all competitions. Because I think we've already reached the conclusion, haven't we, that it's a good thing?
Yeah, I think so, because again it forces not only fielding captains but the batting side to think differently. You're already seeing it now that, you know, someone like Perth Scorchers, you asked about why Mitchell Marsh isn't bowling. I feel they're holding back the likes of Ty and Mitchell Marsh for those potential overs.
Ty is in now just to be awkward, and at first, and he should have been held back because his first delivery's just gone for 4. How about that, Cobbs? So Andrew Ty is into the action in the 7th over, and it's a very good shot, actually driven very, very powerfully through extra cover by Carey. He'll move on to 14, and the score up to 47 for 2 in the 7th over. But it's quite a big night for AJ Ty. He's not had a good couple of games. He's been coming a little bit frustrated, and that's the same. That's half. Did he get a hand on that? It doesn't matter because it's still race to the boundaries. That's successive 4s here, so the frustration for Ty continues. First 2 balls, they've both gone the boundary straight through the hands there, I think, or past the body, outstretched hands of the man at extra cover. So it takes the strikers past the 50 mark onto 51 for 2 in this 7th over, and they're just in the perfect spot for the left-handed Carey just to hit them beautifully. I mean, he struck them both so beautifully and well. It's a partnership of 35 from 25 balls.
Yeah, this has been the problem with Andrew Ty's bowling. He hasn't one of those bowlers. He hasn't quite found the right length. He's tended to go
round the wicket again
there.
In bowls, push back up to Ty this time, dot ball.
Yeah, he's just tended to be a little bit licorice all sorts, either too short, too full. He hasn't really settled in on that line of length that we know he can. He's very adept. A lot of experience around this sort of format of the game. Obviously been a bit unlucky he might feel with a few decisions that haven't gone his way.
I think he certainly feels that way. Ty comes in, bowls again, and well, he was looking to slice this one away on the offside Carey, and it's come off the bottom edge of the bat and past the stumps, and the keeper will just move swiftly to his right and retrieve the ball there. It's a bit of a milestone for Ty, 150 T20 matches in his career, and should he get a wicket here this evening, or whenever he gets his next wicket, it'll be 200 chalked up as well. So as you say, Michael Carberry, a man of huge experience, but it's just not been going his way recently. What about here this evening from now on? Well, that one's a delivery which again is hit quite beautifully. Half a stop there from Liam Livingstone, but not enough to stop it from actually getting to the rope. He sort of slid around, got his right hand to it, and couldn't quite keep hold of the ball. I think he was actually trying to parry it away from the boundary rope, and he's inadvertently, I think, just helped it on its way, but only by half a yard there, back onto the rope. And it just gets there with the covering around the rope. So it's another 4. So this has not been a good night again for Ty so far. 5 deliveries bowled, 12 runs conceded, and the strikers now with another boundary. The Carey have moved on to 55 for 2. 1 ball left of the 7th over.
Yeah, Andrew tried. Just get a little bit too much width, but he's just got to try and get out this over as best he can. Carey
facing again, one a little shorter, up onto his toes and pulled into the sunlight, the bright sunshine, as of course the sun starts to set, but still that part of the ground bathed in sunlight, and there's a fielder out there, and therefore it's another run for Carey. He moves to 23, and the strike is up to 56 for 2 after 7 overs. So whatever big build-up we may have been trying to give him to Ty, F1 holding him back. No, they didn't do that. Next, looking for 200 wickets. Well, he certainly hasn't got that with his first over. He's gone for 13 runs.
Yeah, it hasn't quite gone to plan, has it, for AJ Ty? But Yeah, I still think Perth Scorchers still will be fairly happy with this beginning. Certainly haven't gone round the park, but Alex Carey's played beautifully, as has Renshaw. Started the sort of minor recovery, you would say, for the strikers. Posed for a good game, I feel. Probably won't be the high scoring game that we had previous couple of days ago, but certainly if these two get going, it'll be an interesting game.
If you have anything like last night's game, we'll have no complaints. What a cracking game that was. Just starting to think as though we've had two or three real close games, and it's just starting to build a bit of momentum, I think, the competition here now. We'll wait and see what we get here this evening. Certainly it's Mitchell Marsh brought into the action now, and he will bowl initially to Carey. Carey will just push the ball square on the offside for a single. One more makes the strikers now 57 for 2. So Marsh is introduced at this stage, just after the introduction of AJ Ty. Marsh did a very important job. It wasn't in the end good enough for his team, but he did a good job with the ball the other night, and not quite the same sort of start, but he's probably got a similar job here now to do, to get in amongst the wickets, make sure the strikers don't get away with things. And this one is pushed more defensively than anything into the offside by Renshaw, but it's still a big enough gap down towards the keeper to enable them to go through for a single. And the score moves to 58 for 2 in the 8th. Renshaw up to 18. Still settling into his new environment, Renshaw, having moved from the Brisbane Heat. Marsh to his mark to bowl to Alex Carey again. Carey 24 not out of 18 deliveries round the wicket in bowls, and pushed back up to Marsh, moving to his right hand side. Been some interesting social media chat from the Scorchers supporters. Have been following a little bit over the last 72 hours or so, that the supporters are looking at this list of players they've got, the Scorchers, and they're just wondering why they're not clicking, because there is an awful lot of talent in that setup. We all know about the cliches about you don't win with your team on paper. They've got to perform, but Marsh is one of those performers, and here he will concede just a single off the bat of Carey, behind square on the offside again, and Carey moves to 25, 59 for 2 in the 8th over.
Yeah, it's an interesting debate, isn't it? What's on paper versus what your output on the pitch. But I stand by what I say. I think, having been a Perth Scorcher myself, and part of a very good cricket team, but it was also a cricket team that did the basic things very well. Batting in partnerships, bowling in partnerships.
Renshaw 18 not out, next delivery driven, real flourish of the bat from young Matt Renshaw. We get a single, if you like, a shot that almost deserved more, but there's a man out there down at long on, and Renshaw moves up to 19.
Yeah, and to win cricket games, in any format, you need all facets of the game to click. You've not just got to bat well, you've got to bowl well, you've got to field well, you've got to back up your bowlers in the field, and Perth Scorchers have just missed that complete performance.
Carey 25 not out. Marsh bowls to him now. This has gone aerial. It's going to be safe. It's over the man at the edge of the circle and races to the boundary. There's nobody out there at long off, and Carey will get up, pick up another boundary. Takes the score to 29, and after 8 overs, the strikers 64 for 2. After 8 overs, the average first innings score in T20 at this ground is 168, and the strikers, despite the loss of those 2 wickets, are making steady progress here now.
Yeah, they have. They've actually made a nice recovery, these two, without setting the world alight. It's just been steady. They've picked up the singles. I think they've run very well. They're very quick between the pegs, and they've put away the bad ball. You've seen Carey, take a calculated risk, hitting one back over the top. It just hasn't been frenetic cricket. Something the Scorchers batsmen, I feel, can look at themselves when they have their batting innings. Just the calmness of an Alex Carey. I do like him as a cricketer. What I've seen of him, he seems to have a good head on his shoulders. I know Justin Langer thinks quite a lot of him, and he's well thought of in around Australian circles. So I just think it's just been good basic cricket from these two.
Not only a good cricketer, but what a fantastic taste in music he's got as well, Alex Carey. Stevie Nicks and Fleetwood Mac. He's going up and up in my estimations. Yeah. Back to Renshaw, who probably likes pop singers and pop stars I've never heard of. He's on 19, and Hardy's going to bowl to him now. In and bowls. Oh, he's got a leading edge. Is it going to be safe or not? No, I don't think it's going to be, and it's a catch. And the catch is taken by Behrendorff, moving to his right-hand side, coming round just on the edge of the circle there at mid-on, and Renshaw has gone for 19. Hardy has got his second wicket, and the striker's now at 3 down. 64 for 3 in the 9th over.
What was that I said about calm cricket? I'm not really sure what Matt Renshaw was trying to do with that, to be honest. It was a bit of a nothing shot on reflection, a bit of a giveaway. But, you know, Hardy's bowled nicely, and I like this ploy with the Perth Scorchers, especially the right-arm bowlers, these left-handers. It's something we didn't see in the previous game. They've come round the wicket, they've changed the angle. So it's obviously something they've probably talked about in their bowling meetings, about how to tie the arms down to these left-handers who like to come in and use the width, use these short square boundaries to try and cramp them for room. So I like what they've done so far, and I think it's worked.
I like Hardy's 2 for 3 from 1.1 overs, because again, social media being as it is, calling for him to be dropped for tonight, following his
Really?
19 runs from 2 overs. An unforgiving lot sometimes. He's a young man.
This cricket nowadays, isn't it?
He's making his way, but look, it's all about opinions, and I think also what drives that sort of thing at the moment is a little bit of, well, more than a little bit of frustration on the part of the Scorchers supporters, isn't there? They want their team to do well, and Hardy here, though, what a great response from him. 88.1 overs, 64 for 3 is the score, and the next delivery is just turned behind square on the onside, and they'll be able to go through for 2. So yeah, good response from Hardy, who does look a real talent anyway. Wells has gone out to join Carey, and again, Wells is a man of good experience, and the strikers here, having lost 3 wickets, just need to be a little bit mindful of that. But it's 66 on the board. We're in this 9th over, and it's Carey on strike, having picked up 2 off that first ball of this over. How many will get this time? Just the single. There's a fielder out there behind square at backward point. So Carey will move to 32 and 67 for 3 midway through the 9th over.
Yeah, he's bowled really nicely, Aaron Hardy. He's, as I say, he's found that right length. He hasn't been too full or too short. He's cramped the batsman for room. You can see they haven't been able to play that sort of pick-up hoik over the leg side too easily. Matt Renshaw had a go and spooned it up in the air. I think it's been good discipline bowling. He hasn't tried too much, and I think that's what the Scorchers has needed over this tournament. I think they've been trying a little bit too much, and nothing's really worked. Good old-fashioned basics.
Hardy again powering in. He's a big strong lad. That's on the leg stump, worked away but straight to the fielder at mid-wicket, who is Ty, and therefore Wells is unable to get off the mark with his first delivery faced. Looking forward to seeing Roy and Livingston
Should be tasty.
later on. Yeah, should be.
Tasty.
I mean, Roy was looking okay, wasn't he, for his 21 off 11 balls, to say the least. 3 4s and a 6 before he gave full salt a catch, actually. Livingston made 22. We'll see how they get on this evening. Hardy, meantime, into Wells, pushed into the offside again towards extra cover. Half a stop, but a stop which will save some runs, but they still get 1, and the score to 68 for 3.
Yeah, I too looking forward to watching Jason Roy bat. It should be good viewing. He looked in good touch. It was a bit of a shame or a shock when he got out, actually. It looked like he was set to win the game within 10 or 12 overs, but wasn't to be.
No. 1 ball left to this 9th over, and Hardy bowls again, pushed the dot ball to finish off the over, just pushed into the offside. I shall have to be a little bit more careful speaking to my son, my 12-year-old son, Carbs, because he likes Jason Roy, surprisingly enough, as lots of cricket followers do, especially the young ones, the way he goes about his cricket. And he was watching he didn't get up at home early enough to actually watch or listen to the game itself. He had it on the highlights, and I said to him, well, you have to be quick, otherwise you'll miss it. And I got into so much trouble for spoiling it all. But I said it'd be worth it, the bit you do see, and it was, wasn't it? Yeah. But he'll hope to hang around for a little bit longer tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. We know Jason Roy's box office. If someone like him gets going, the game could be over very, very quickly. He doesn't mess around, our Jason. But the BBL is tough cricket. It's not easy to get runs in this tournament. You have to play well. There's some good bowling attacks around, so you're going to have to be mindful.
68 for 3, 9 overs gone. Marsh with his second over in bowls, up onto his toes is Wells, but again a dot ball and no run, just pushing it square on that offside. It's good that, you know, this traditional fixture, this competition, relatively speaking, has not been around for long. It's obviously the BBL 10, but already a few traditions are building up, new traditions, which is good for a new generation of cricket followers. Up onto his toes is Wells into the offside. Scamper through for one. They're having to push hard for these singles at the moment here, Michael Carberry, because they realise that although they have found the boundary, maybe not as often as they would like, so they've got to look for these opportunities. Yeah, for sure. I think the Scorchers have done it, especially these two, Marsh and Hardy, have done an excellent job. They said they've kept playing very simple. They've bowled very straight, and you know, someone as good as Carey's not really been able to get away from them. John O'Wells has obviously just come to the crease, and you know, 2 or 4 balls, the pressure will be building on him to get something going. Marsh around the wicket to Carey on 32, sits up for him and he pulls that away. Lovely. That's going to be a 4 behind right square on the onside. That was a great shot from Alex Carey. Yeah, Marsh just again straying away from that good length, just dropping one in short. Not sure why he really need to do that at this stage. He was going so well with what he was doing before, but yeah, swivelling on that pull shot, pulling it away to square leg boundary. 10 fours so far in this innings, and the strikers are 73 for 3. They were put into bat after the bat flip. We're midway through the 10th over, which of course is a notable point of the game. This one is worked away, but for no run onto the onside because of the bash boost point. Whether other competitions want to take that on, I think it's working for this one. I'm not as keen for others to adopt it as quickly. For me, it's not as big an issue. I think if they do, I think it'll be good because I like it. But it's this power surge I'm most wanting others to adopt as quickly as possible. I think it really does add to this format. Carey on 36. Next one is pushed into the offside, and a good stop there. Next recover. That's Jason Roy with the right arm throw. Will he run him out? Has he made his ground? We are going to go to the TV umpire. Mike Carberry, your initial thought on that?
I think he just made it. Yeah. Just.
I mean, we've seen 2 issues in recent games of making sure that bat is grounded as it goes along the line as well, yes. Which of course was the undoing last night, wasn't it? It was, of the Brisbane Heat. But let's have a look at this again. So Marsh bowls to Carey, pushes that to Jason Roy. Another fine stop. Right arm throw, he's good at that. Carey has to turn around and get back into his ground. Does he make it? I don't think he's going to.
It's out, well out.
Well. Yeah, by some distance, isn't it? Never mind whether it is grounded.
Worried there.
It's grounded, but the wrong side of the line. Well, that is a massive wicket.
That's the kind of thing as a fielding unit you talk about, trying to get a wicket from your fielders. And Jason Roy answered the call. What a great bit of fielding, great diving stop, and then the throw was almost pitch perfect for Joss Inglis to run onto. You know, that's quite a difficult skill if you think about it, you know, to wait a throw so that the keeper really can run onto it and break the stumps at the same time. You know, it's high level stuff. And yeah, another timely wicket for the Scorchers. You know, they're fighting back.
John Wells run out for 2. So it's 73 for 4, 1 ball left of this 10th over. And Marsh has got 1 ball left of his second over. But yeah, the Scorchers, although to be honest with you, even in that first innings, it was a fascinating innings the other night. I thought lots of twists and turns. It was only in the batting reply. Yeah. Did it all go wrong? So we can't read too much into it at the moment. But there is something here. There's something here for the Scorchers. And at the moment they're causing the strikers a few problems.
Yeah, again, it's just that complete performance, is it? It's just finishing off the job.
Short is facing now, and he will play that one for a single. Will they just take one? Or they come back for a second? Yes, they are coming back for a second. And they get there in the end. So 2 off the last ball of the 10th over, 75 for 4. Carey on 36, short on 2. So we make a note of this score for the bash boost point issues later on in the evening, and we'll have some more thoughts from Michael Carberry, and then it will be Henry Moran.
Yeah, I think the game is beautifully poised. Great start from the Scorchers. I think they would have taken this, judged on the previous night's work. They've come back into things very, very well, bounced back well from a disappointing performance. I think the bowlers have been overall spot on, bowled a much better length, much fuller. I like the changes of angles particularly to their left-handers, cramping them for room. Alex Carey has played very, very well. Just lacked a little bit of support. No one's really stuck around long enough with him, but he looks set for a decent knock on there. He obviously knows these conditions very, very well. He's played well. He's just played good basic cricket. So, he'll be looking to obviously carry this inning through. He's just been joined by Matt Short, so not knowing too much about Matt Short, but he'll be looking to just obviously turn the strike over at this stage now, and then set it up for the pyrotechnics of hopefully Rashid Khan. See what he's got for us today.
Michael Carberry, thank you very much indeed. You're going to have a little bit of a break, 5 minutes or so, or 5 overs or so, to grab yourself a cup of coffee and watch the action, see how this innings develops. 75 for 4 is the score. Matt Short joining Alex Carey in the middle. Short, former Renegades batsman. He bowls a little bit of off break as well, and has taken a few wickets across his BBL career. He's got a job to do with the bat, though. There's an Adelaide crowd expectant. New Year's Eve is a party at the Adelaide Oval, and they want their team to win and get the party started ahead of New Year's Eve celebrations in South Australia. But the Perth Scorchers have been the side that have, in the main, dominated. But having said that, 75 for 4 is, relatively speaking, compared to other scores at the halfway stage in the innings, it's probably just a little bit ahead of what we've seen as around about a par of 65 or so, typically for that bash boost point. So we'll keep an eye on that and keep that score in mind for the midway point in the second innings. The other thing to look out for, of course, Kevin, midway point through the first innings, is whether we've seen any X-factor substitutions. I don't think we have, but I will confirm that in a moment. Fawad Ahmed is going to bowl to Alex Carey, his first over, and a single is taken by Carey down the ground, a little cross-batted jab, and it'll bring Short onto strike with a score 76 for 4. Have you spotted any subs being made, Kevin?
No, I haven't. As I said the other day, we're looking for tears. A player who just can't believe what luck has come their way to be substituted. But I can't see that. And on our monitors, we're normally closing in, aren't we, on individuals who have either come out of it well or badly. There's none of that either. So.
Yeah, just looking around, I don't think, and having a look at social media accounts as well, I can't see any changes having been made. So that keeps things nice and simple, and means that we keep the 11 for each side that we saw not only at the start of this game, but at the start of the last game between these sides as well. So lots of consistency as Ahmed is into Short. It's a little bit shorter, punched into the deep for a single. In the shadows, the fielder is waiting. Berendorf throws in. 77 for 4. There's no question about it. A real buzz around the Adelaide Oval. You can hear the noise in the crowd every time that the boundary is found, and that sense of anticipation, expectation, not just because these Strikers fans know success in recent times, but also because they're playing a Scorchers team that have really been struggling of late. And Ahmed is in and chopped away by Carey, but only as far as the fielder Roy at backward point, and there is no run. Nicely struck, but straight to the hands of the fielder. And you can tell a real crowd from a fake crowd in terms of the sound effects, and we have got used to these different noises as we've watched and followed sport over the last 12 months. Ahmed into Carey, he sweeps well, and that's going to be 4 runs, I think. Yeah, well, there is that reaction from the crowd, and it's a boundary to bring Carey into the 40s. 41 for him, 81 for 4 is the score, because particularly at the Gabba and the Adelaide Oval, a boundary for the home side is met with huge roars. For the opposition, silence. And you don't tend to get that with the fake sound effects. It tends to be a cheer either way. But when there's a real crowd, they are very partisan. Carey on 41. He's going for the reverse, plays it nicely, and he gets a little unlucky because it goes straight to the hands of the fielder who was sort of point but became square leg, Jason Roy. And Carey remains on 41. 81 for 4. 1 ball left of the 11th over. Ahmed has conceded 6 from his first 5 balls. Carey is looking in good touch. It's short. He whacks it away, but without perfect timing, and it's collected in the deep by the man on the square leg boundary, and the over comes to an end. 82 for 4, 11 gone. A real party atmosphere around the Adelaide Oval, and Carey on 42 is leading the way at the moment.
The other benefit of a real crowd is over sound, effects, because I'm not too sure as I've seen anybody with a machine with the fake crowd noise has got a booing on it, and of course a ring of booing went around the ground last night on that last ball run out. So I don't think if anybody had been trying to conjure up a false crowd noise, they'd been able to have captured the mood quite last night. What went on there for the Brisbane Heat. It's all cheers generally, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
No booing.
And in the end, actually, it was controversial as it seemed initially, because the decision was made so quickly with that final ball run out that won the game for the Hobart Hurricanes. We've seen replays of it subsequently. It was out, and it was the right decision from the third umpire, who made it very quickly. One of those that looked tight, but on close inspection it was the right call. So all's well that ends well, but as you say, the reaction from the crowd was one of dismay, it has to be said. Joe Richardson to bowl his second over. And he's bowling to Carey. He's giving himself some space, working the ball into the offside. Gets one. The score 83 for 4. Richardson picking up a wicket in his first over and conceding just the 5 runs. Hello to Steve Pogson in Manchester. He says, I'm going full Aussie this morning. I've got the Central Coast Mariners on the telly. 0-0 please. And 5 Live Sports Extra on the radio. Bring us a cracker and cheer us up in the cold and snow. Steve, lovely to have you with us. And hopefully you're staying nice and warm at home. I know there's been a lot of snow in the north of England. 83 for 4 is the score. Short on strike, is defending into the offside. Finds a gap as well. Really nicely played. It's not all about power in this game. He picks up a single to bring Carey back onto strike. Just finding that gap in the offside. 84 for 4 is the score.
We need something to cheer us up. Listening at home, we talk about crowds, of course. A lot of sports clubs now with the new restrictions brought in at midnight UK time. Won't be able to have any crowds back in again for the foreseeable future.
Carey waiting for Richardson, nudged into the offside for one more. Just a bit of a holding pattern at the moment from these two, trying to build the partnership, the springboard from which they can leap upon the power surge and make the most of it. 85 for 4.
Got to hope domestically, although there are many other things that are far more important, but if the predictions that we're hearing from various sources of spring and April, well, just fingers crossed for the domestic season to make us as strong and as clear a start as possible, but time will tell.
Short on 4. Waiting for Richardson. It's on middle stump. Nicely played from the batsman, who plays it basically exactly straight, just past the stumps, and gets 1 run. 86 for 4. Of course, all those supporters that, there were tantalising moments, weren't there, in the summer of 2020, where fans came in small numbers for the odd county match, but the passion that is held from supporters around the UK for seeing their counties are so desperate to be able to get back and watch their team. So fingers crossed that happens sooner rather than later. 86 for 4. Richardson into short, around the wicket, driven with a short arm jab into the offside, but there's no run as it's stopped in the covers. 86 for 4. 1 ball left of the 12th over.
Obviously the strikers want both Carey and Short to go very well. I have my own thoughts, as I'm sure others will. In fact, we'd quite like to see Rashid Khan have at least 2 or 3 overs out there with the bat, if it's all possible. He was fantastic the other night.
Carey on 44. Final ball of the 12th over. Here comes Richardson round the wicket. Very full, dug out by the batsmen. They think about a single, a sort of jerking stop-start run from the 2 batsmen. They decide against it at the end of the over. And 86 for 4 is the score after 12. I should say a happy birthday to our colleague on Test Match Special, Ebony Rainford Brent, whose birthday it is today. I think New Year's Eve is quite a good day for a birthday. Because everyone's in a mood for a party.
Nobody can have one, Henry, but yeah, I know what you mean.
you know what I'm saying. But many happy returns, Ebbs.
Do you think there's some sort of mass Zoom party? And even though it's a Zoom party, I've still not been invited.
Yeah, I know. Even a Zoom party, it doesn't even require sort of buying more supplies, and we've not had the invite, Kevin.
No, we haven't.
86 for 4 is the score. 12 overs gone. Short is on 5. And we're going to see Fawad Ahmed, I should say, bowling his second over. He conceded 7 in his first. And he's moving in. Right arm over to the right-handed short, who's hammering the ball into the offside, but he only finds a fielder. That was there to be put away. It was short and wide, and he can't quite do it. 86 for 4, the score remains. Short on 5. We saw yesterday a team failing to take advantage of the power surge, missing out in the end, as Short is deep in his crease and will get one to deep cover this time to bring Carey onto strike. Yeah, and it's been interesting to see how teams have used and utilised the power surge, at what point they've deemed that it's most valuable to do so. And certainly we've yet to see the, I think, optimum time that teams have sort of learnt works best. Carey on 44, driving, nicely struck down the ground for 1. 88 for 4. And it's, you know, one of those things that no doubt those that crunch the numbers for each of these franchises will be trying to work it out, which circumstance, you know, if you're at this point you need to do it here, if you're at that point then there. But it's quite fun when these new rules and creations come in, watching teams almost learning on the fly. And we've seen that in the first few matches of this tournament. Short on strike, it's again very short and wide. Surely will be signalled a wide by the umpire, and it is. The man on the effects machine's enjoying himself with a little whoosher sound to signal that wide. 89 for 4, midway through the 13th over. Short is on 6, and there's a cry of catch as it hit into the leg side, and it will be a catch very low down. It's a decent one too. Jason Roy had to crouch down. It just seemed to dip on him at the last moment at deep mid-wicket, but it's a wicket for Ahmed, and the end of Short. 89 for 5 with 2 balls left to the 13th.
So I'm hearing, you see, that actually overs 13 and 14 are good power surge overs.
Okay.
And you're thinking that, and then just as you're thinking that, you lose a wicket. So you've got somebody new coming in. This seems to me to be the theme that's been played out over most of the games so far, Henry, that just at those moments when whatever the number crunchers have come up with, you'll be thinking, right, well, we might go for it now. Oh, they lose a wicket, and then somebody new comes out. So this idea, this general thought that was thrown out at the beginning is you've got 2 well-set batters, sometime, you know, early on in the teens of the overs, and then you go for it. But it's nearly always the case at those moments you lose wickets, so then you've got somebody new coming to the middle. So it's a real dilemma and a real tricky one for captains and coaches, as you say, to get their heads around.
I'd be amazed if they didn't take it at the start of the next over, the strikers, for the simple reason that Rashid Khan has come to the middle, and he only plays one way. He made 29 from 13 in the last match against the Scorchers. Helicopter shots, all sorts of things, and he doesn't tend to hang around. So you would have thought that you might as well make the numbers work for you and risk reward. You're better off with Rashid Khan getting that field restriction in, because you're more likely to see his sort of ball striking coming off. It's 89 for 5. He'll be on strike. I suppose the question is, can he resist doing something bold with the last 2 balls of this over? Ahmed moving into him. He's deep in the crease and will get 1 out to deep cover, which maybe isn't the worst result, because he does play in one way and one way only. And Carey, I think, will be on strike, will he? Yes. I thought for a moment they hadn't taken the run, but they have. And it is 90 for 5. 1 ball left of the 13th over. And Rashid Khan is one of those cricketers, whatever he does on a cricket field, he just brings joy.
I'm excited to see him out there, Henry.
Carey on strike as Ahmed is in, driven out towards Jason Roy. Oh, could be trouble. No, Carey gets back. They thought about a single. It was never there. And Roy, who Martin Guptill knows only too well, when crunch moments come, throws well from the deep. And that occasion, again, it was a good throw and it prevents the single. So 13 overs gone, 90 for 5. A projected score at the moment, well, they're going to have to go some to get north of 150. They'll have to be going at more than 8 and over to get there. 10 and over takes them to 160. So there's a little bit of pressure to get a move on. Average score at the Adelaide over is close to 170.
It is 168, and you look at the striker score, you think they're going okay, but you've also got a feeling that every time they're really about to explode in this innings, that they lose wickets. So we'll wait and see if this Rashid Carey partnership can can do it. I don't think we're going to see the power surge just... Oh, look, we're going to see the helicopter shot, though. Look
he's
at that.
He's thinking about it, isn't he? We can see he's just
one-handed.
twitching that bat and just thinking, ooh, I quite fancy this. Hardy, though, to bowl to Rashid Khan. He's nudging the ball behind square. And he picks up a single, 91 for 5. Yeah, this Adelaide strikers innings has been a bit like my first car, Kevin, in the sense that any time that you sort of went above 80, it started shaking and rattling quite a lot. And this innings has been a bit like every time they've just tried to push it a bit far, things have gone a bit wrong. It's all started shaking a bit.
When you say your first car, is that still your current car, Henry?
No, I say I've upgraded. I haven't upgraded. Rashid Khan is on strike. He works the ball to the leg side. Actually got 2 in the previous delivery. 92 for 5. He works it as far as mid-wicket. I've upgraded with a very, very old car. But, you know, it works. Got 4 wheels. What more do you need?
This Hardy's had a good night so far. Looking to break up a partnership, but this is his 3rd over.
Rashid Khan is defending into the offside, sprinting through for that run that he will get to bring Carey onto strike. That's another run to 93 for 5. I'd be astonished if we don't see the power surge in the next over. And we've been really bad at predicting it over the last few days, I know. But it just feels that this partnership for the 6th wicket, it is arguably the last 2 recognised hitters in the side. And they're set, and it might just swing things their way. And can you bank on managing to keep this partnership going for another over after this one with the pressure to score runs? That's the question. Carey on 45 on strike as Hardy, 2 wickets to his name so far, comes around the wicket, and it's driven with a little check drive from the batsman Carey and thrown at the wicketkeeper's end where Rashid Khan gets home. 94 for 5. It's been all quite circumspect this over, just little sort of, again, it's that almost that phony war, a bit of a dance as we wait to see when this explosion of energy and run scoring, if they can manage it, will happen for the strikers. Rashid Khan on 4. Waiting, right-hander as Hardy is into him, and he's again playing with ease and just caution, really, running the ball down to 3rd man, and Jai Richardson will pick up and throw. 95 for 5. We've got 1 ball left of the 14th over. Hardy has so far the outstanding figures of 2 for 12 from his 2.5.
I finally got round to watching Moneyball the other night, Henry, following your suggestion. Well, it wasn't following your suggestion. There was a massive coincidence. The family had got it lined up to watch anyway that night, and what a brilliant film it is, and also very enlightening for the way things have gone, including cricket.
Carey on 46 and clipped into the leg side, out to deep mid-wicket, and a single is taken, so he'll keep the strike at the end of the over. 14 gone, 96 for 5. It is a phrase that we see a lot in sport, Moneyball. You've seen the film recently. How would you best sum it up, Kev?
All to do with the numbers, mate, innit? It's all numbers. Although I do think I needed to have learned a little bit more about baseball before I watched it, because I wasn't quite sure about some of the terminology given. But it's all about the numbers, and yet still, when push comes to shove, it's also about the money, isn't it? It's about the teams with the money eventually take the big ideas. But yeah, it's about looking at sportsmen and women from a different perspective, and obviously very challenging to the set ways of how we've done things in the past. That's the big story. One of the stories from it as well, isn't it? You know, things change, things develop, things move on.
Indeed, 96 for 5. I don't think they've taken this power surge, Kevin. What do we know? Absolutely nothing, evidently.
Well, it wasn't a bad suggestion, so don't give yourself a hard time over it, Henry.
Yeah, I'll do my best.
But yeah, when?
When is the question. Carey on 47 is nudging the ball into the offside. They'll get through for 1 if they're quick, and they do. And the score moves to 97 for 5. And just to sort of, the story is that the Oakland Athletics baseball side go from nowhere to winning by virtue of picking players purely on their sort of net contribution, as opposed to them being star performers as such who occasionally do the business. Ahmed bowling to Rashid Khan, and it is swept hard out to deep mid-wicket for a single, 98 for 5. And so there was sort of controversy as some of the star players, the ones that sold the shirts, were being released, and then guys that hadn't really done that much elsewhere were being brought in. But because of the numbers and how they would work, alongside the rest of the players that they had, the team would then go on to win, and so it proved. A single into the leg side from Carey, who's now one away from his 50. He's going to turn for the second. He'll get there too, so he gets his half century. Played really nicely, Carey. Pressure's been on with wickets having fallen, but Carey, midway through the 15th over, gets his 50, and with it, the Adelaide Strikers have the 100 up. 100 for 5. It's an 8th BBL 50 for Alex Carey.
Terrific performer, we know he is. But this is interesting now. If the power surge doesn't work for them.
Work behind square. Will there be a run? Ooh, throw comes in, but good work from Rashid Khan sending off from the non-strikers end. They do get the single. 101 for 5.
You know, you look at this and you think, well, that's okay, but I think they're relying quite heavily now on making sure the power surge is a good one for them. And Rashid, as you say, isn't a batter you need really to give himself any time to settle in. He plays the sort of shots he plays, so I'm surprised, like you, they haven't taken it.
Down the track comes Rashid. Well, there's the first evidence of the way that he plays, and it's driven down as far as Berendorf wide long off for a single. 103 for 5, is it? No, 102 for 5. One ball left at the 15th over, and then we'll be joined by Michael Carberry, who's been looking on his phone at stats about Rashid Khan, and he's been shaking his head in wonder and bewilderment. More in a moment. Carey on strike as Ahmed bowls to him, driven through the offside for a merciless boundary out to deep cover, and the bowler's frustrated. It was tossed up outside the off stump and clattered away to the ropes. The end of the 15th over, 106 for 5. Michael Carberry, welcome back. Kevin, you're going to stick around and take us through the final 5 overs, but Carbs, I want you to, what was it particularly that amazed you so much about Rashid Khan?
I was just looking at his stats, and for a 22-year-old, he's played, ladies and gentlemen, 242 T20 games already. That is staggering. 242. And he's only 22 years old. I think I've just about played that in my career.
334 wickets, an economy of 6. And the batting is something to behold. He's a breathtaking cricketer, isn't he, Michael Carberry? Breathtaking.
Yeah, absolutely.
Still no power surge. Start of the 16th over. Seen the helicopter shot there, but it hasn't gone aerial. It's gone along the ground, actually. Didn't get hold of it. He'll get a single, will Rashid, and the score moves to 107 for 5 in this 16th over. Yeah, he put a lot of effort in, but it was just racing along the grounds there. Yeah, exactly. And it's Andrew Ty. AJ Ty.
It seems to be him, doesn't it?
Yeah, just reintroduced, but this is not the power surge. He'll be relieved for that, although he may pick up the second over of it. This is just his second over. He's gone for 14 runs so far. He's looking for wicket 200 of his T20 career. He's played 150 T20 matches around the wicket, in bowls and pushed into the offside by Carey. They'll scamper through for 1. And should we do a comparison then? Because what did we say? Rashid Khan, age 22, 242 matches.
That's right.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, AJ Ty is 34 years old, and is just clocking up 150.
That's right.
Yeah, that's a compare and contrast.
It's phenomenal how these games rack up very, very quickly. I'm just looking at my own stats, and I played 146 and I played in the very first edition of it.
T20 matches, yeah?
T20 matches, yeah.
Rashid is on 8 not out. Next delivery, short, it's in the air. Will it carry out to the fielder? It could be out. He is out. Oh, we've talked him up, we've talked him out, and Andrew Ty picks up wicket number 200, and Rashid has gone for 8, caught down on the boundary, wide third man, and that's 108 for 6. So he's not going to be involved with the power surge, and we're midway through the 16th over. What a massive wicket that is.
Yes, and Rashid will feel slightly aggrieved, you would say, short and wide from AJ Ty. Yeah, you can see the look on his face. What have I done there? But Andrew Ty, I can tell you now, that will be a very welcome wicket. The last few games haven't quite gone his way, and you'll feel that's justice. A little bit of justice has been done. He's knocked over Rashid Khan, and it'll be interesting now to see, with the surge still to be taken, how the strikers go about their work.
Can you throw any light on what has been going through Alex Carey's mind regarding this power surge? Why, Rashid Khan comes out, he leaves it a few deliveries at the end of one over, then he goes another over, then he goes another over. Why didn't he take it, and why hasn't he taken it? And not in a critical way, but what will he have been thinking about? What will he be trying to balance up there? Dan Worrell's the new batter, by the way.
To be honest, I'm like you. I'm very confused on that one. I thought Rashid Khan would be the ideal man. He proved that in the previous game. All I can think of is possibly maybe he feels the conditions of the wicket has probably changed, and maybe leaving it a little bit later, seeing off the likes of Ty, and maybe attacking one of the lesser bowlers might have been the better way to go, perhaps.
Ty it is, who's coming in to bowl. The batter's having crossed, so it's Carey facing, driven into the ground, back up to Ty. There'll be no run. It remains 108 for 6. 2 balls left of the 16th over.
But Worrell himself is also a fine ball striker as well, so they're not losing, I say, too much in the power hitting department. He's proven already in this tournament alone that he can clear the ropes, but you feel Rashid Khan really was the man.
He's got a strike rate of 136 as Worrell. Next delivery is to Carey, though. Carey doesn't really know where that's gone, but it's ended up just to his right-hand side, but only by a couple of yards. So another dot ball. So they're not racing away here. 1 ball left to the 16th over, and this is better from Ty. His first over was expensive, really tightened things up and got that key wicket of Rashid Khan. He's got 1 ball left of this, his second over, and the 16th of the innings on this New Year's Eve traditional fixture being held at the Adelaide Oval. The strikers, the home team, are batting, and Carey will find a gap. Will he? Yes, that beats the man just on the edge of the circle. Therefore, there's nobody out there in the deep. It's a 4 to finish off the over. Carey will move to 60, and the strikers up to 112 for 6 after 16 overs. And Ty has now taken 1 wicket for 19 from 2 overs.
Yeah, just overcooking the pudding a little bit, AJ Ty. Just trying the variation last ball, which is not always advisable. He was sitting it, he just found a good length, which Alex Carey was struggling to get away, and then obviously just dragged one down and giving that release ball. And that's kind of been the story of AJ Ty's bowling to date. Just haven't been able to really string together those enough dot balls. But yeah, I think the Scorchers will still take this. It's a marked improvement on the previous game, and strikers now, what were you looking at now as a competitive score? You've got to be looking around, you say 150 as a minimum on. It's still a good batting surface, you say.
We still wait for the power surge. I don't think are we going to get it this over or not. The monitors are focused. Too far away. Well, 112 for 6, 16 overs gone. Up onto his toes is Worrell, so he will just push the ball down towards third man. For a single, I'm not the world expert on lip reading, but I swear that Jason Gillespie on the bench just shook his head, not in a negative way, but just sort of shook his head in a sort of unknowing way, saying he's not taken it yet, as if it is most definitely Alex Carey's decision as the captain out there when to take it, but they themselves weren't too sure whether he was going to or not. That's my reading of what I've just seen there, body language wise, and sort of this silly amateur.
Doesn't look like they're on the same
reading
page.
Well, yeah, as I say, not in an angry, aggressive way, just in an interested way, that's all. But Carey's on 60, and it's Richardson bowling to him. It's his third over in bowls. Stosen just worked away through square leg, and there will be a single, and the score moves on to 114 for 6. And, every time that Alex Carey may have been thinking, he could have been thinking about it 2-3 occasions already and thinking, well, look, I've just got somebody else come out to join me. But there he must be thinking to himself, well, I'll have to take the responsibility for that power surge then. That would be the way to do it, surely. Yeah,
I think personally he's missed the trick. I think he should have taken it when Rashid Khan came out to bat.
Richardson in to Worrell. He clears a little bit of room on the leg stump, goes past the stump there down to the keeper, and there will be no run. Well, it is yet something else to fascinate us as we watch the game, and to cause the captains and the coaches a little bit of a headache out there. But it's certainly a massive talking point within the game at the moment, because nobody really has got seemingly a real hang on it. 3 balls left to this 17th over. 114 for 6. Worrell's on 1. He's gone aerial here. Has he gone high and too high? It could be caught. There's a man under it. Takes the catch. And that's Worrell gone for 1. And it's Turner who takes the catch at mid-on. Didn't get hold of it at all. And that now is 7 wickets down. 114 for 7 in the 17th over. And Alex Carey may be waiting for a partner to stay out there long enough for him to be confident about this power surge, but it's not happening.
Yeah, and this is the danger now, is that as strikers lose wickets, the surge might, he might, as I say, he might have missed the boat. It's a very odd decision. I think really got to be looking at matchups. Rashid Khan to Fawad Ahmed with short boundaries. He took him down in the previous game. Dan Roll, again, is a fine ball striker, but you prefer someone like Rashid Khan to utilise that surge. I think he's potentially got this one a little bit wrong, Alex Carey, but we'll wait and see.
From a player's point of view and a captain's point of view, obviously a captain is a good captain because they are able to think, they are able to make quick responses. But as a batter and a captain, you've got all this going on. Michael, perhaps you can just tell us what is going on there, how difficult, how big a challenge it is. I know they're professionals, they're at the top of their game, but let's remember the human being. So maybe over this next ball or two, if we're given that opportunity just to go through as a captain, as a batter, and in this situation, how difficult it might be that Alex Carey, and it's a new innovation as well. Richardson comes around the wicket, in and bowls, and that's just plopped into the ground, left-handed reach from the bowler. Danny Briggs, by the way, is the new batter. But yeah, just everything going on in the captain's mind, and you're trying to hold it all together yourself as a batter. Yeah,
it's difficult because you got one eye on what's the competitive score, the other eye on you being a batsman, watching the ball, knowing where your next run's coming from, and then obviously this new innovation to think when's the best to take it.
Well, the aforementioned Carey 61 not out. That is in the air and over the top of the keeper. That's going to run down. The cheers of the crowd you can hear in the background for 4. Just helped it on its way. Bounced, and Carey just got the bat and lifted over the top of the keeper, well to the keeper's left-hand side. So that at the end of that over is a 4. It's 118 for 7 after 17 overs. Carey on 65. Danny Briggs is not the worst with the bat.
No, he is
Briggs, so this could be interesting. He could make the most of it if we got. But I think we're going to wait until the very last moment for this power surge, by the looks of it.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you can overthink things when you're obviously making your plans. As I say, Danny Briggs is he's a more than capable batsman. Probably not in the Rashid Khan striking the ball ability sort of batsman. Briggsy will be very adept at turning over strike, and as I was saying, sometimes you can overthink these things. I think you just got to be looking purely at matchups and say, right, Fawad Ahmed is short confidence in this tournament. He hasn't got many wickets.
We're taking it.
There we go.
Yeah, and he loves it. The umpire loves it. Well, he's done 2 with his right hand and only 1 with his left. He must have got tired. But it's the signal to tell us that the wax on, the wax off signal, as it's known. Apparently, I know nothing of these things, but we are in the power surge at last. We have got there. 118 for 7 is the score after 17. Alex Carey and Danny Briggs are the pair out there at the middle, and Andrew Tye. It is going to bowl the first over of this power surge, and he's bowling to Briggs. And Briggs faces his first delivery and will get off the mark down towards wide third man, and Briggs is on to 1. Brings Carey now on strike. He's the one that's faced 51 balls for his 65. He's the one in the best position to make the most of the power surge. 119 for 7. Now, we've seen a few boundaries and they've been well struck generally, but is this one of these pitches where maybe you're just looking to get the ball past that circle and maybe run as many runs as possible, maybe not just looking for the big boundaries?
I think that's probably what Alex Carey's factored in. I mean, he obviously knows his wicket very, very well, and he probably feels that this isn't a high-scoring wicket. Maybe the fact it's a used pitch, it's not coming on quite as nicely as it did the previous night.
Carey on 65. Now he's found a boundary with this one. That's a glorious shot. Just a couple of bounces over the boundary on the offside, but wide, long off. It was there to be struck, and he struck it very, very nicely indeed.
Yeah, maybe, Alex Carey's worked out that maybe something around 150 as a max is probably good enough on this pitch. Let's remember, you know, you've got some fragile minds in that Perth Scorchers batting lineup, being knocked over for 90, 95 the other night, so he's probably set his stall out a little bit lower.
Carey's on 69. Ty bowls to him again. That's just on the wide line.
Oh, no.
And Ahmed down there on the edge of the circle. The crowd respond as if there was possibly a drop catch. Ahmed has a disappointed look on his face. Let's have a look at this. Did that carry all the way out? Well, it did carry. Oh, it's a simple drop. That's why he looks disappointed. Oh dear. AJ Ty must be thinking to himself, for all sorts of reasons, I can't wait for this year to finish. That was a dreadful drop, and Carey has been let off. He's on 69. This time it's in the air over the top of the circle again. It's going to be another boundary, another 4 runs for Carey, and the score now moves on to 73 for him and 127 for 7 in the 18th over. We've seen some fantastic fielding in this format of the game. It's something which really has exhilarated me as a spectator looking on, but we've also seen some shocking stuff in this BBL 10, to be honest, and that was another case of it, that drop catch there.
Yeah, not a good time to ask Andrew Ty for an autograph, I don't think.
No.
His kettle will be boiling, let me tell you. That was a horrific drop. Alex
Carey dropped on 69. He's now on 73, and Ty comes in to bowl to him again. He's gone straight and aerial this time. Will this be the first 6 of the night? Yes, it will. It's come in the 18th over. We've had to wait a long time for it, for the maximum, the first one of the evening, but we've got it, and Carey's got it. 79, not out, and the strikers 133 for 7.
That was a beautifully struck shot. Just cleared the front leg, and AJ Ty just again coming in that slot zone, and Alex Carey just going through the line. I mean, that's a big boundary as well. Let's say it's one of the biggest boundaries on the ground, and he's cleared not only the boundary but also the side screen comfortably. Just a little punch for the bottom hand. It was a beautiful shot.
Well, he kept us waiting for the power surge to Carey, but he's going to try and make the most of it now. 79 off 55 balls for Carey. We've got 1 ball left of the first over the power surge. It's the 18th over the innings. He kept us waiting a long time. 133 for 7, and it's Ty around the wicket again. In and bowls, looking for that width. This one will just roll along the ground for a single out to cover point. And Carey will move to 80 off 56 balls after 18 overs, 134 for 7. Well, a real let-off for Carey. That could have been a completely different story, and should have been Michael Carberry, but he's still there, and now he's making the most of it. Andrew Ty again, dear old dear. He's got his 200th wicket, but it's 1 for 35 for him from 3 overs.
Yeah, it was a bad drop. I mean, no one means to drop catches. We've all dropped them in our time, but yeah, that was a bad moment for Ahmed. You've really got to stay switched on. This in 2020, you can't afford to drop these class players, and you know, what a great knock from Alex Carey. He's played beautifully. I just love his calmness. You know, his demeanour still hasn't changed really. He's you know, you can see he's really up for this contest. You know, we were critical of him taking the lateness of taking the surge, but he's proven us wrong now. He's starting to put the foot on the accelerator pedal and really putting his Perth Scorchers under some pressure.
I wondered if that was ever in the thinking of this power surge, for thinking, you talk about confidence, and the Scorchers got to be pretty low on it, whether he thought that was something they could exploit deeper into the innings. But there have been lots of different factors where we've been left a little bit puzzled as to why he left it so long, but at the moment it's looking okay. He's 80 not out, 134 for 7, 2 overs left. Richardson's bowling his final over. He's gone for 2 for 15 so far, and that first one is driven straight to the Scorchers captain Turner for no run.
Yeah, there was a good start from Jai Richardson, getting the Yorker up there full and straight. Carey wasn't quite able to capitalise. Said he's gone through the gears nicely in this innings at 80 or 57, which is just what the strikers needed to proper captain's knock.
Jai Richardson playing his 50th T20 game. Around the wicket, in the bowls, in the air. It's on the leg side. How far has this travelled? Far enough? Well, safe enough, if not far enough. It's not gone to the boundary. It's gone sort of, well, 3/4 of the way out there, and they will go through for 2. Carey moves to 82, and the score 136 for 7 in the 19th over.
Yeah, Carey just getting that one a little bit high up on the bat. Jai Richardson sort of banging it into the pitch. He's just got to be a little bit wary of that length on these short boundaries, Jai Richardson. yeah, Carey getting away with 1 for 2.
4 balls left of his final over, Richardson, 2 for 17. It's gone the same area. Has he gone a bit further this time? He hasn't. It could be trouble. It is. And the wicket is taken, and it is a catch for Andrew Tye. It's the end of Alex Carey. Another wicket for Richardson. Carey's gone for 82. 3 balls left of this 19th over, 136 for 8.
Yeah, very timely wicket. Carey was batting beautifully. Went for that short side again, but this time not only managing to find AJ Tye, who took a real good running catch. It's important for these Scorchers to see the back of Alex Carey, and you know what a beautiful knock he's played. That was a high-class innings from a high-class player, and he's given, you'd say, he's given the strikers a chance. It might still feel they're a little bit short, but there's still obviously an over and 3 balls to go. See what they can pick up. If they can get anywhere around the maybe 145, if they can nudge up to 150, I think they'll feel with this, again, with this fragile Scorchers batting lineup, they'll feel they're in with a hunt.
They will, although we've seen there perhaps another example from Carey. It's not easy to time this ball and to clear that rope, is it?
No, and this is why, you know, you look at his overall innings. You know, he played very, very good cricket shots to begin with. You know, he kept a strong base, didn't try and overhit the ball, seized on anything short, but more importantly, he ran well. I think that was the important thing. He ran his singles. He was able to push the ball at the cover fieldsmen and push them hard in the field. So it was a top knock. Wes
Agar is the new man at the crease, but it's Danny Briggs who's facing, and his ball he faces, who will clear the circle. Remember, this is the power surge, so that will be Behrendorff going to chase it, and there will be 2 runs for Danny Briggs. So Briggs now got to try and make the most of this remaining 2 deliveries of the power surge. The score is 138 for 8, and Briggs, with those 2 runs, has taken his score to 3 not out.
Yeah, and Danny Briggs, you know, he's a very capable batsman. He's got a first-class 100 to his name. Yeah, he's a decent striker of a cricket ball.
He is indeed, and he's facing now as Richardson bowls, and this one's on the leg side. A tumbling stop for the keeper, who's going up to appeal for a catch. Talk about delay. There was at least 2 hours there between the keeper appealing for it and Richardson joining in as the bowler. Not really in sync on that one. We're looking at it, and in fairness, that wasn't too far off getting a glove down that leg side. Just have a look at that again on the monitor. Oh, actually, it was quite some distance. But anyway, whether he heard anything or not, or whether he's just chancing his luck, who knows? But it's not out. 138 for 8, 1 ball left of the 19th over, penultimate over of the innings, and Richardson to bowl to Danny Briggs on 3 not out. Bowls again down the leg side, and this time the keeper can take it cleanly, but still it's going to be a dot ball to finish off that power surge. 138 for 8 after 19 overs. Briggs on 3. Well, that power surge worked to an extent, but it's been a tricky night for the strikers, including when to take that power surge, and Carey tried to make the most of it. He was dropped early on in the power surge, got some boundaries, but eventually was caught as well. So Weatherald 6, Salt 4, Renshaw 19, Carey in 82, Wells 2, Short 6, Rashid Khan 8, and Daniel Worrell 1. It's been a bit of a struggle out there, but it's Briggs and Wes Agar with Siddle still to come if needed to see out this final over.
Yeah, I suppose you know, Henry summed it up, really. It was just like his new Ferrari that he bought, that I saw him strolling to the Oval with this morning. A bit stop-starty. Might need to get his money back on that one, I think.
Dear oh dear.
Yeah, they haven't really got going, have they, the strikers?
No. I hope you weren't expecting us to be shocked by that revelation, by the way. This next delivery is just past the off-stump and through to the keeper. And a dot ball, 138 for 8. Agar it is who is facing. Hardy 2 for 13 after 4 overs. He did say it was his first car, so again, we wouldn't be surprised if his first car was the Ferrari.
Yeah, he did say upgrade though, didn't he? You know Henry, he likes the finer things in life, doesn't he? Well, came in with the Ferrari this morning. Could hear it down the Harleyford Road coming in this morning.
In fairness to him, I'm old enough to remember him just as a wee laddie, and the hours he spent on that Oxford Tube bus, I tell you, coming into work, he deserves a Ferrari. Next delivery is hit hard and firm. Oh, it's a catch! Oh no, dropped! Oh, that was travelling. I thought that was going to be an absolute blinding catch by Mitch Marsh. As it is, He's put it down, but he saved some runs there. That was travelling high to his over the top of him. In the end, he just sort of parried it back down into the ground. Did he get two hands on it? He did, but it was a real stretch.
Yeah, I think he just mistimed the jump slightly. It probably came off a little bit slower than he thought, I think, initially.
One run, so 139 for 8. A slower ball from Hardy. Liking Hardy this evening here, Michael Carberry, doing a really good job. He's
done a very good job. I think he's been almost a young sung hero in this innings. I know Jai Richardson will take the plaudits for his wickets, but I think this young man is, he came on at a difficult time as well, and he's really stemmed the flow. He's done a nice job for Perth Scorchers. I think he can be very proud of his performance to date so far.
Indeed, he's got 3 balls left, so we haven't jinxed him. 2 for 14, his figures. Bowling to Briggs. Briggs has gone high and straight, but has he gone far enough to the boundary? No. It's been a real struggle to get to that boundary along the ground, high and over the inner circle, and we have seen, I think it's just the 1-6 as well. We've seen no more than 1-6. 141 for 8. Briggs has moved to 5, having picked up a couple of runs there, but it is such an effort. Therefore, this score, Michael Carberry, is an interesting score, 141 for 8, I think, with 2 balls left of the 20th over. And a batting lineup that's not got a lot of confidence, but has got Roy and Livingston. Reverse from Briggs. That's a classy shot.
Danny Briggs.
Yes, exactly. He'll enjoy that. Although, will he afford a smile? No, he won't. But he's got himself a 4 there. He timed that brilliantly, that reverse sweep.
Are you Joss Butler in disguise? Wow, what a shot that is. I'll be sending him a tweet later. That is an amazing shot. I mean, the things these guys can do now, I mean, that's just phenomenal. I'd be thinking about just crudding that for one somewhere, get off strike. Yeah, brilliant innovation from Danny Briggs. As I say, he's a capable batsman.
Oh yes, last ball of the 20 overs then, 145 for 8. What's he going to do with this one, Briggs? Not quite the helicopter, but a real swish of the bat. He will pick up a couple of runs. Will they be run out? Oh, he'll be run out. Oh, going back for the second there. Well, that is slightly disappointing, but they're just trying to push it as hard as they could. But Briggs, I think, will finish on 9 not out with a score 146 for 8 after 20 overs. Hardy will finish with 2 for 21 after 4 overs. I will please remind me later. I want to talk to you about, you say, I wish you'd been able to play a shot like that. I want to find out from somebody of your class and your style how frustrated you are maybe at the fact that you might have had in your head to play shots like that. I don't know, but just until we'll talk about that later.
That's where it ended.
Well,
it was in the head.
Let's talk about the strikers then. It was 9 wickets down, sorry. So the strikers 146 for 9 off their 20 overs. Michael Carberry, your thoughts on that innings?
I think, credit's got to go really to the Perth Scorchers. I think it was a much improved bowling performance. They definitely a change of plan, I would say, from the previous game. They forced the Adelaide Strikers batsmen to hit a lot straighter, and I think it worked on this, you'd say, slower pitch, used pitch from the other night. Strikers batsmen didn't really probably get that partnership they would have wanted, but Alex Carey did his best. He took the innings deep. He took the responsibility as captain with a fine 82. Look, you don't know if it's a good score until both teams have batted on the pitch, but you would say, based on previous, it's a competitive score. They've got runs on the board, and remember, on a used pitch, you've got the likes of Rashid Khan up your sleeve as well, and no better man to utilise a pitch that's wearing and a little bit slow. So they'll be backing themselves to knock the Scorchers over in this second innings, you would think.
Jai Richardson 4 overs 3 for 19. Jason Behrendorff 3 overs, no wickets for 22. Aaron Hardy 4 overs 2 for 21. Ashton Turner bowled 1 over, went for 9 runs. Andrew Tye 3 overs 1 for 35. Mitchell Marsh 2 overs, no wickets for 15. Fawad Ahmed 3 overs, didn't bowl his full 4. But then Ashton Turner bowled 1, didn't he? Fawad Ahmed 3 overs 1 for 21. So we'll see how we get on this evening. We'd love a game as exciting and as thrilling as last night. We can't get that every day for you, but it'd be nice to get somewhere close. 146 for 9, the strikers, off their 20 overs, and there'll be more from Henry Moran and Michael Carberry coming up in around 10 minutes from now. But as 2020 draws to a close, let's hear from a few members of the Test Match special team who've reviewed a year like no other. We might not have had the T20 World Cup or seen the start of a new competition, the 100, as we expected to, but there was still a lot of great cricketing action despite the postponements and the cancellations. Correspondent Jonathan Agnew, along with Ebony Rainford-Brent, Andy Zaltzman and Simon Mann, have been looking back at the highlights that stood out for them.
Moment of the year, well, I think it has to be just getting on the field at Southampton. I think at the start of the summer, we thought there was a very good chance there was going to be no cricket whatsoever throughout the whole of the English summer. I think everyone was fairly depressed about that, not least, of course, because the weather in sort of April time and May was absolutely fantastic. I mean, we've barely ever had better cricket playing conditions, and it was just mocking us, the weather outside, where we were all in lockdown, and we thought we were going to get no cricket, and then to get some cricket, just to see the players walk out at the Ageas Bowl and get some cricket on. I think for me, I mean, there was some fantastic cricket. I mean, there was the Stuart Broad milestone as well, and some of the wonderful innings played, but just to actually get on and play some cricket after there being no cricket for so long, and the feeling of there would be no cricket. I think for me that has to be that moment of the year when the players came out and started to play.
Fair enough. I'm going for Jimmy Anderson's 600th because it was such a farce that last day then we're talking about now, aren't we? All the catches that were dropped, the weather was appalling. It looked like we wouldn't get any cricket in on that last day at all, and Jimmy would be left sweating and everything else. But all those catches, even Stuart Broad dropped one, which would have brought up his 600. Then suddenly a little nick through to Root, and although it's silence, unfortunately, Jimmy Anderson became the first fast bowler to take 600 wickets, and that I will stick my flag on. Ebony?
Yeah, going slightly different. I get really excited about young players sort of stepping up, and Zach Crawley's 267 versus Pakistan at Southampton for me, or 65 even at Southampton was it's ridiculously impressive, really. I just thought for a young player to get his time, he had a good winter when it was South Africa and got his moment and then started to show the signs and was backing it up. But to go that deep, I'm sure Andy might have some information about how important or how big that innings was, but to see a young player do that, I actually got emotional. It was a bit corny, really, but yeah, I just felt, and also, sorry, I do, don't you get? Well, I do. I've cried once or twice on air when no one's looking, but anyway, that's another story. And I just wonder if, if he becomes the next Alistair Cook as well, will we look back at that moment of a young player?
A few more shots on Cookie.
Yeah, he does actually. He does. So I just wonder if I really enjoyed that as a young player, and I wonder if that will be a moment we always look back on and remember as really, really special.
Andy?
Well, that Crawley innings was truly extraordinary. I think it was from memory the 10th highest by England, and it was, I think, the highest by an England player under 23 since Len Hutton's 364. So I have to check that, but from memory, we talked a lot about the stats at the time. For me, what was so impressive about that innings was the phases that he went through. And although the game ended up in a draw, at the time, this was, the rain hadn't come yet. The game was live. England were, he came in very early on after Burns was out. England then were 120 for 4. He'd already scored about 50 by then at high pace, and he reined himself in. Then he expanded again. Then he went defensive again towards the end of the first day, and then came out and attacked vibrantly as he went past 200. It had so many, it was almost like a piece of music with different movements in it. It was a glorious display of batsmanship against a good attack, and it wasn't just a one-off. He's had 3 other half centuries in Test cricket and an innings of 40. I think he's the way he sort of built up towards that innings was hugely promising, and I think it was one of the most auspicious innings by an England player. Obviously, these things don't always translate into a prolonged success at Test level. In terms of my moment of the year, I'd agree. The first ball of that first Test, particularly with as Ebony mentioned, the context of the Black Lives Matter movement, it was a sort of very moving moment in cricket, and also with the piece of television that Ebony and Michael Holding did for Sky. It felt like cricket was beyond the bounds of sport in a way that seldom happens. England being back on BBC television was that was an exciting moment. It's been a very long time. There was one shot Babar Azam played that I think made the entire year worthwhile. It was a sort of flick off the hip that was almost ethereally beautiful. And I'd go back to the women's World T20 final earlier in the year. packed out MCG. That felt like a huge moment for cricket and women's sport, really, globally. And obviously, it's the way the sporting year has panned out, sort of huge crowds feel almost from a different time.
Player of the year, both men's and women's. Well, I think we can get through this quite sharply because I think some familiar names we've already talked about might crop up in these next few. And
I bet you're all going Test match though. I'm going. I'm shaking it up.
And you can go men's and women's.
Yeah, I'm doing one for each because I think I'm breaking the rules. I'm doing what I want. But Milan, for me, is the player of the year. I just think he is always under the pump, and he had a number of opportunities this year. Mostly his best run in T20 cricket in terms of opportunities consistently, and he just continues to deliver. Kicked off with a 54 not out, and then more half centuries against Australia, has continued into South Africa. He's just done everything you could ask, become the world #1 T20 player. So he's my #1 there. And then the other I would say is Sarah Glenn from the women's perspective. She took 7 wickets against West Indies, showed as a young bowler who's only just like 20, 21 in her career that she could throw the bat as well, and could be what Lisa Kitely, the England coach, is asking for, is someone at the lower order that can throw runs in. And also in the World T20, she was really economical as part of the spin setup with Sophie Ecclestone. So for me, the two of them, she showed as a young player, what England could be. So she was my female player of the year.
Simon, player of the year?
Stuart Broad.
Yeah, me too.
Stuart Broad, no doubt about it, for me in the men's game. Magnificent response to being left out. I was speaking to him recently, actually, and he was saying that he doesn't, you think about the Ashes next year as being sort of like that's his goal, whatever. He's saying, no, not by any means. I don't rule me out. That's one of my goals, but I can go on after that. So
it is incredible in that I have to say, here we are now with the Ashes, less than a year away. It just didn't seem feasible 4 years ago or 3 years ago that we'd be even talking about Jimmy Anderson and Stuart Broad going to the Ashes this time. And what does worry me is that actually they're both probably just one sort of serious injury away, in that it just takes so much time to get back at that age, doesn't it? And to get back, but they could both be there.
I think they will be there. I mean, as long as they're fit, I think they will be there. I mean, I think that's the way England are planning, and clearly both of them want to be there. I mean, Jimmy, I remember interviewing him on the outfield after the last Ashes series, because he was vice captain, wasn't he? Stood in for Joe Root, who was ill that day, and he was saying, I want to come back in 4 years' time. And I was thinking, really, Jimmy? I mean, you want to go through all this again? But I mean, absolutely determined to be there, and want to put right the wrongs of the last 2 Ashes tours. England have lost 9 of their last 10 Ashes Test matches.
No, fair enough. Anything to add to that, Andy, sort of statistical perspective? Who's the statistical player of the year?
Well, I think unquestionably for England, Stuart Broad, particularly just looking at the home summer, 29 wickets at 13.4. As I said, the best home summer average by an England bowler with over 20 wickets since Underwood took 30 at 10.7 in 1969. Wow. Broad took 3 or more wickets in 7 consecutive innings. If he'd managed to do it in the last innings of the summer, that would have tied the England Test record. And he'd never previously had 4 consecutive 3-wicket innings in his Test career. So what we were seeing was maybe not the explosive spells of devastation that characterised his first peak, but probably the greatest consistency that he's ever achieved.
I think we'll probably all agree on this next one. A breakthrough star of the year. He's been mentioned already. I mean, do we look further than Zach Crawley or not?
Oh, that's it. That is it. I mean, we could end this podcast right now, really.
Well, I think so. I mean, how could you beat what 267?
Yeah, I think it's not just that. It's the one thing I think is important watching in someone's career is, how they progress. So you might not expect them to come out with a bang, but it's how can you see that potential? And that's what we saw from South Africa in the winter, where he came in when he got an opportunity and just sort of started building. And it's like he continuously got better and better until it became mammoth. And I love seeing that progression, that it's not just a one-off or it's not just a sort of flash in the pan moment. There's consistency, and then it also, in that performance, shifts what the team do. It now means that he will be first on the sheet for a little while. It shapes the whole lineup.
Batting where though? That's the question.
Yeah,
isn't it?
That is where. But what I think when you mentioned it earlier that he has a few more shots than maybe Cook or whatever. What he does have is the ability to, I think, play in a couple of positions. Can he play at 3? Can he? I think he's got it all. So yeah, definitely the breakthrough.
The thoughts there of Ebony Rainford, Brent, Simon Mann, Andy Zaltzman and Jonathan Agnew as one of 2 podcasts that we've released in the last week or so on Test Match Special. You can access via BBC Sounds, which the first being a review of 2020, and that full episode is able, as I say, you're able to hear that on BBC Sounds. And then we've also got a preview of what we might expect in 2021. There's a couple of outlandish predictions that I think it's worth listening to. It'll be interesting to see if they come off. I'll leave it at that. Our attention here on 5 Live Sports Extra for the next hour and a half or so is on the Big Bash League cricket action from the Adelaide Oval. It is the Adelaide Strikers taking on the Perth Scorchers, the final BBL match of 2020. The final cricket on 5 Live Sports Extra from Test Match Special from 2020. And I think we've got an interesting game on our hands here, because a target the Perth Scorchers will fancy chasing down, 147 for their first victory of this year's competition. And they've got the firepower of Jason Roy and Liam Livingstone, 2 England signings that they've got into their lineup, made their first appearances of the tournament in the last match. It got going, scores in the 20s, but didn't quite go on to what they would have hoped to do. Today, their opportunity to really stamp their name on this Big Bash League. And I've got a feeling, as we look out to the middle, Michael Carberry, former Scorchers batsman, that it might be Livingstone and Roy opening the batting in a change to the schedule. We were due to see Josh Inglis at the top of the order, but I think they may have shuffled things around. It's exactly what we were calling for off air in between the innings.
Yes, I'm very happy to see this pair walking out. I think, respectfully to Josh Inglis, it just hasn't worked out for him. No doubt he'll be back, but I think you've got these 2 guys in your ranks. I mean, this is why you pay the big money for them. It's a small total. You haven't had a great series with the bat, you would say, but if there's ever going to be 2 guys that are going to reignite your luck, I suppose, as with the bat, is going to be these 2. And let me tell you, if this guy gets going, this will be over very, very quickly. But it's not an easy wicket, as we've seen, to go out and strike the ball. So, it's going to be a little bit of what Alex Carey did, a little bit of taking your time, probably give yourself a chance to get in. But the key bit now is when you get in, as Alex Carey did, he took the innings deep, and that's what was my slight criticism of the Scorchers batsmen. We got a few guys that got in, got 20s, got in, and then got out. So they can't afford to do that in this innings, because the strikers will back themselves on this wicket. Likes of Worrell bowled beautifully, Peter Siddle very experienced, and as I said, that man Rashid Khan on a tired, wearing pitch, he'll be a handful on this.
Yep, no question. The Adelaide crowd expects the Oval looking an absolute picture of purples and red hues in the sky, the sun setting, floodlights shining bright. We had a light show in between innings, and now the countdown has concluded and we're ready to go for this second dig with a target 147 for the Perth Scorchers. Jason Roy, the England opener, right-hander on strike, and immediately a ball on the pads, which is spearing down the leg side. Just tickled that left pad, so it won't be signalled a wide. A dot ball to start things off. There is a slip in place. Worrell is bowling, and we're up and running in the second innings. Do they try and approach this? Let's try and just bash it in the first few overs and try and get our way ahead of the game, or do they try and play a little bit more cautiously?
No, I don't think it's a wicket you can go out and just bash it.
Roy's on strike as Worrell is into a swinging drive that goes through to Carey behind the stumps. He misses it. He did chase a wide one.
As you saw in the strikers innings, the guys who went out trying to be over aggressive too early before they got themselves in came unstuck. Alex Carey, I thought, played the perfect knock. He was still busy in between hitting a bad ball, and I think it's just normal batting. Someone like Jason Roy has got enough shots in the locker to not have to go out searching.
Still yet to get off the mark, the Scorchers, as Roy is chipping the ball up. It's not too far from the fielder at mid-wicket. It was just a little aerial for a moment. It wasn't exactly in control from the England World Cup winner. And still the score remains 0-0.
What they need here is a solid start. You know, something around 30 to 35 for none would be lovely off the 4 overs. I think that would be looked upon as a good start.
Worrell once more charging in, right arm over with Roy on strike, gets bat on ball this time, works it through the offside, and that's a great shot from Jason Roy. He'll pick up a boundary. The fielder won't haul it in, it goes square on the offside, and Weatherald was never hauling that back. 4 without loss.
And that's what I talk about. You know, Jason Roy is, in white ball cricket, is one of the finest players going around, and he's someone who doesn't need to go out searching for the bad ball. He can create, you know, that's top of the bounce, you know, that's not a bad ball, and he's punched it off the back foot. Beautiful shot. You know, someone like him, he's just got to get himself in, get accustomed to things, and then we know what he can do.
4 without loss with Roy finding that boundary. He's waiting now, and again looking for that bat foot drive. Pushes into the offside, only as far as Rashid Khan in the covers, but he will get one to bring Liam Livingstone onto strike for the final ball of this first over. Livingstone, who was the Scorchers' leading run scorer in last year's tournament, made 425 runs across the matches that he featured in. Also one of the viral moments of the year when he was struck rather painfully in one game. I think actually he may have been struck twice rather painfully in the same game.
Same game. It was pretty funny to watch, I would say.
Yes.
From afar.
He was, put it this way, his aspirations to be a sort of Bee Gees tribute act became more plausible after that innings. Livingstone on strike, Worrell to bowl to him. And he's waiting now. Tall right-hander from Lancashire, beaten by a quick delivery that flies through. He tried to chase it a little bit, but gets nothing on it. Now Worrell concludes an over that's gone for just 5. So 142 more needed from 114 balls. Yesterday we saw not only a really tight game in terms of the conclusion, with the Hobart Hurricanes winning by 1 run against the Brisbane Heat, but also with the Bash Boost point midway through that second innings. The target to get the Bash Boost point for the Perth Scorchers is 76. So 75 for 4 is what was made by the Strikers, which relatively speaking is actually quite high. And normally you see teams accelerating the second half in an innings, but they actually got more than half of their runs in that first half. So they'll be going some, the Scorchers, to chase down that. Their bigger prize, of course, though, is the maximum points from the victory if they can get them. So figures dotted on the roof of the Adelaide Oval, high up above the Riverbanks stand on one of those tours across the roof, as Peter Siddle with the bleached hair is bowling to Jason Roy, and that's a brilliant piece of work at backward point from Weatherall to prevent a boundary immediately from flying away, and Siddle applauds his teammate. 5 without loss.
Yeah, Pete Siddle locking in on that line and length as he's done for so many years, very experienced. And Jason Roy just a little bit off balance there, getting away with one screwing off the outside edge.
Siddle with a black tubey grip on his right arm, running in now, bleached blonde hair, bowling to Jason Roy, who's pushing the ball through the offside, and the quiet from the crowd tells you all you need to know. It's 4 more for Roy, and again, it wasn't wide, he created that width, and it's 9 without loss.
Yeah, and that's what Jason Roy can do. You know, he's got a fantastic eye, he just picks up length so quickly, moved away slightly to the leg side. Peter said he was saying again, wasn't a bad ball, but this is what Jason Roy can do. He's got great hands, and he's just taking the ball top of the bounce, scoring 1 through backward point. Great shot.
Roy on strike once again. Still that slips in place, and Roy pulls away, having considered going for the big heave-ho. He then realised the ball was very, very slow from Peter Siddle with that big toothy grin, and he marches back to the end of his mark.
I love Jason Roy's demeanour there. What is that you are bowling to me?
That is absolute tripe. Horrible. It wasn't wide.
Yeah.
I mean, technically it was almost your perfect T20 ball, dot ball. Siddle running in again, bowling to Roy, nudging into the leg side, a little hop and a skip as he avoids the centre of the pitch and runs through for a single. It'll get Livingstone on strike, and 10 without loss. Liam Livingstone's an interesting cricketer in the sense that, you know, burst onto the scene, got his England debut against South Africa in that one-off T20 at Taunton that was played back in 2017, but hasn't quite sort of gone on and made the impact he might have done.
Yeah,
More in just a moment as Livingston is waiting for a ball that's on the pads, clipped away out to deep square leg for a single throw comes in. Livingston up and running, 11 without loss.
Yeah, I mean, I've not seen heaps of Liam Livingston. He was just breaking in as I was finishing, really. But talk around the town, he's very talented cricketer. I think he's just one of those guys, unfortunately, just around in a great era in white ball cricket for England at the moment, where there's so many good players around.
Full in the air, cries of catch, but it's going to drop short of the man in the deep Renshaw. It was Jason Roy who was up on his toes, not really timing, almost not committing to the shot. 2 overs gone, 12 without loss, and Roy has 11.
Yeah, just on Liam Livingston, very talented ball striker. Did very well for Scorchers last year, but when you look at the England lineup at the moment, you know how strong it is with the guys who are struggling to get a game. The likes of Moeen Ali's and these guys who are sort of on in and around the fringes. Tom Banton's obviously now just sort of broken in. David Malan who's knocking on the door. The evergreen David Malan. So you look at that and you think, the fact that Liam Livingston is not able to break in. It's just testament to the strength of white ball cricketing.
Start of the third over, Worrell bowling to Roy. It's gone miles in the air. Can someone get underneath it? 3 are getting close, but it drops safely. The ball flying into that gorgeous pink sky above the Adelaide Oval. And as 3 men tried to get there, none could. And Jason Roy gets a little bit of a life. He's on to 13, 14 without loss.
Yeah, Jason Roy, he's trying to up the pace. Realise that this wicket is a bit turgid, a bit slow. But I think, he's got to go back to what brought him to the dance. His 2 good cricket shots is what brought him the boundary so far. He doesn't need to overhit the ball at this stage.
Roy waiting for Worrell, driving along the ground. That's a nice looking shot. That's the sort of areas that Jason Roy finds so well when he's in good touch. Driving through the covers for 4 runs. And I can see from your reaction, Carbs, there was a little sort of fist bump because you've seen some good batsmanship there. It's 18 without loss.
As I always say, good batsmanship always prevails. Good cricket shots always wins at the end of the day. And that's what Jason Roy can do. He's more than capable. I know he likes to be aggressive, but you've got to respect the wicket sometimes, respect the conditions. It's not a flat pitch.
Roy on 17. He's got the bulk of the run so far, and he's hitting into the leg side this time, and there's a misfield, and it'll send the ball down towards the boundary. It could be 4 more here. It's slowing up and just gets there. Man at mid-on should have stopped it. It's Peter Siddle, who's wearing the black and gold hat for the leading wicket taker in the tournament so far, but that's all well and good, but not when you fumble one like that. You wouldn't be too chuffed if someone did that off his bowling. And it's 4 more to Jason Roy, 22 without loss.
Took a dive, but there was no water in the pool there from Peter Siddle. But again, great, good cricket shot from Jason Roy. He was short of a length. He's very, he's got such power, Jason Roy. Again, but just playing good cricket shots, even on a slow pitch, you can see the benefits. He doesn't need to slog.
Roy waits for Worrell, cries for LBW. The umpire's not interested, takes a step away immediately. And they run through for a leg by. Just on Liam Livingston and his international hopes, just to finish, he, as I say, made those T20 debut in 2017, played a couple of matches at Taunton and then Cardiff. And in that second game at Cardiff, David Malan made his debut and made 78. And it's almost as though, the divergence of paths from that moment, had Liam Livingston scored those runs in that game and become undroppable, who knows how things could have played out. And look at Malan now. Livingston on 1 is feeling the ball outside the off stump, goes running down as far as backward point, and there's no run. 23 without loss.
You throw in Sam Billings in the mix as well. Sam Billings has been around the setup and really got his chance this year, you say, and looked one of England's better players, you would say. Got his first 100, which I was really pleased for him. He's a great lad, Sam Billings, but he's been around the sort of setup. He's been on tour, carried the drinks for a lot of the time. Just testament to the strength of the game at the moment.
Livingston, length ball is defended, and Worrell gets out of the over with a couple of dots. So 3 overs gone, 23 without loss. The equation for victory, 124 needed from 102.
But what I would say, the beauty of cricket now, is these tournaments now where I think the ECB, good on them for opening their mindsets eventually, you would say, to these tournaments, allowing the players to go and progress themselves. Being for Liam Livingstone, being on TV, being around some of the best players in the world can only better his game, and it keeps him in the loop, in the fold, for when, if there's injuries or he'll be ready to come in and play. So good on the ECB for finally seeing the value of these tournaments.
And I think it works well in many ways, doesn't it? Because say you've got 2 T20 World Cups coming up in the next couple of years, you'll be able to hear on Test Match Special 5 Live Sports Extras. Wes Agar comes into the attack, more in just a moment. Jason Roy is on strike and says wait straight away as he's clipped as far as Rashid Khan. A little flick through the legs as he tries to send the ball towards the non-striker's end. But if you've got players like Liam Livingstone, who maybe have been away from the international fold but have plenty of experience in different conditions against the world's best, should you need to throw them into the squad for that World Cup, it's going to be far less daunting than if they've been clubbing it around Derbyshire, Gloucestershire, Old Trafford.
100%. You cannot put a value on going to Australia, dominating this form of cricket, because let me tell you, it's not easy.
Agar to Jason Roy. He's swinging into the leg side, finds the gap, will find 4 more. What he does so well, Roy, is that advancing pull shot. He's on the move as he hits it, but such a clean connection. And it's 27 without loss. Going back, not too far long ago, someone like Kevin Peterson, was one of the first one of us that really went out and played in his tournament. He came back raving about his experiences in India, playing alongside the likes of Dravids, and he felt he learned so much and became a much better player. Roy says no, it's up on the toes and into the offside, and a dot ball.
I'm liking what I'm seeing from Jason Roy today. I have to say, now the key bit for him now, he's got to start. He's 26 or 17, and I'm hoping that he's going to keep trusting playing those good cricket shots. He doesn't need to do anything different. These strikers, bowlers are already under pressure. I asked for around about 30 or 4 overs, and they're nearly there now. So they've got a platform. Liam Livingstone just has to keep playing that support role.
Agar to Roy. Ooh, painful. Short into the wrist. I don't know if he's got an arm guard on because he's wearing a long sleeve shirt to bat, and I'm not sure if there's some sort of protection on it. He doesn't look overly discomforted by it, but it just seemed to leap up off a length, and painful.
Straight on the top hander. Luckily that didn't spoon up in the air. But there's something you're going to have to expect as when you're batting on a tired wicket, Jason Roy. The odd ball will stand up, as we saw in the striker's innings. It looks like it's wrapped him good on the knuckle, maybe somewhere up on the little finger, perhaps.
Yeah, that's going to be sore.
Smarting, I think.
Yeah, that's going to hurt.
That's usually the one it jams against the bat handle. Ooh. It can be quite painful, that.
A smile on the face of Liam Livingstone, which didn't really help Jason Roy all that much.
It's always nice when it's not you, eh?
Well, absolutely. 120 from 98 balls. That's what's required for the win. 49 from 38 for the Bash boost point. The Scorchers is desperate for points, however they can get them. Yet to find a victory in the tournament. Roy on 26 is ready for action again as Agar is into him. And into the leg side it goes, flicking it away off the hips for 1. And Livingstone will be on strike. And yeah, it's one of those, get off strike, give yourselves a moment to try and get as much time as you can to get that hand feeling a bit better.
Yeah, absolutely. He just good for Jason Roy just to cool his jets down the other end. Liam Livingstone to take some of the strike, take some of the pressure off. He could do with getting off and running himself, take some of the pressure off Jason Roy. If he can get a few boundaries away, be handy.
Agar bowling to Livingstone, a good connection. You can hear the meaty sound off the bat, and he picks up his first boundary. It was a slog. There's no more elegant way of describing it, but he hit it really well, and it goes through mid-wicket for a boundary to conclude the over. So 4 gone, 32 without loss. This is an excellent start for the Perth Scorchers, and Wes Agar, who is a bulky, broad-shouldered character, is walking off looking rather frustrated with life. 9 from the over, as we do see some medical attention for Jason Roy in the form of a member of the support staff running onto the field from the Scorchers. John Wright gets in touch, and we were discussing the old school bats earlier. carbs.
Yes.
And John says, I can't believe that more players in T20 don't use the old grey nickels used by Lance Cairns, the baseball style bat. And do you remember that we had, what was it, the mongoose a few years ago, that very long hand?
The shoulderless, that was a Newbury, wasn't it? The grey nickels. Yeah, it was a Newbury.
And there was the one with a very long handle and a very short blade. That gave you the big wind up.
More leverage.
Yeah, but it's players now just are quite happy to use the standard dimensions and shapes and things. I know there are very strict regulations.
What's changed? I've been staying at my mum's, and I've still got some of my first bats that I when I joined Kookaburra in 1999, and I've been doing some coaching of recently, and I paired it up against some of the bats that some of these lads are using now.
Rashid Khan into the attack, and Jason Roy with a reverse sweep first up. Well, that's how to treat the T20 cricketer of the decade. Cheerio. 4 runs immediately, and Roy has 36 without loss. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, absolutely. Great shot from Jason Roy. Great reverse sweep, knowing that the cover field was up, just expertly guiding it past the backward point. So Rashid Khan under pressure, first ball.
Rashid Khan has had a haircut between matches. He's in now and bowling to Roy, who's trying the same trick again. It beats the keeper, but not the man at slip.
I think Jason Roy is going to look to target Rashid Khan, put some dents into him early on, get that confidence down. Be a great matchup.
As we said earlier, he's 22, Rashid Khan. He's played 242 T20s. That's amazing, isn't it?
He's played over nearly 100 games more than I did in 20 years.
Yeah. Roy pushes into the offside and there's no run. Talk to me. Okay, so these two bats side by side.
Yeah, and the size. So back then the feeling was you wanted a light bat, something around £2.7, that kind of weight, which was probably standard weight for me, £2.8, something around there.
Roy on strike, and a little straighter this time, swept conventionally by the England opener for 1 down to Wes Agar at backward square leg, 37 without loss.
And I paired it against the bat that I finished my career with, which finished up around something around 210, 212, and the difference was ridiculous. I mean, the size of the edges, but the weight of the £2.12 was exactly the same as the £2.7. Can you believe it?
Livingston deep in the crease, clip round the corner, and there's no run.
And that's really what made the difference, I felt. I mean, you could top hedge certain balls and they just fly away. And obviously, you look, guys in the gym a lot more, they swing a lot harder, setups are a lot different now.
Livingston on 5 as Rashid Khan comes into him. Again, deep in the crease, giving himself as much time as possible to try and pick. It's the standard leg break or the googly, and he does well. Picks a googly and works it into the leg side for 1. So 6 from the first over from Rashid Khan, 38 without loss after 5, 109 needed from 90.
Yeah, good start from the Scorchers. Just what was required. Some calm cricket. Good cricket shots from Jason Roy. Again, he's got off to another good start now. The key bit is, taking this further. This is where, if you remember the previous game, things came a little bit unstuck for the Scorchers and they were bundled out for 95. So there's still a lot of work to do here. Being that it's a tired wicket, this is key now. You need someone to bat through, i.e. an Alex Carey, really finish the game off and, put the full stop on a complete performance. I think that will give the Scorchers some real confidence going forward.
Michael, you're going to have a little bit of a break, so you're back with us for the final 10 overs of the innings, and Kevin Howes is back to take up commentary.
Oh, no, thank you very much. Yes, we're into the start of the 6th over, and there will be another run added to the total with Roy and Livingston, the not out pair. Livingston picking up a single, and it's 39 for no wicket. It is New Year's Eve, the traditional fixture here at the home of the Adelaide Strikers at the Adelaide Oval, and the Jason Gillespie Trophy. To add to everything else, the Bash Boost point, the points for the win, and the Gillespie Trophy as well, all to play for. To get that from the Scorchers' perspective, they need 37 runs off 29 balls as they try and chase down this target of 147 to pick up the maximum points for the victory. But it's Jason Roy on strike. He's 32 not out, and Worrell bowls to him now. This one is in the air over mid-wicket. Does it clear mid-wicket? And some. It's a 6. They struggle to get the ball across, well, even to the boundary, never mind across it during that first innings of the match. But the Perth Scorchers with Jason Roy, a 6. It goes a total of 64 metres on that leg side. Takes Roy up to 38 not out of 24 balls. And in this 6th over, they're 45 for no wicket.
Well, it's exactly what the Perth Scorchers, as Michael says, they bring in your big overseas stars because they can do things like this. They can get your innings off to a flyer and perhaps set up the first victory for the Scorchers this year.
Much needed. Roy on 38. Worrell bowling his third delivery of this over. In bowls, a little slower just on the off stump, reaching for a little Roy, but slams the ball out through deep extra cover. They should be able to go back for 2, and they do. So Roy moves on to 40. Yeah, they've been sitting, waiting. I could say patiently. I reckon it was probably impatiently waiting to get their chance. Roy and Livingston going through the necessary quarantine regulations before they could finally get the orange of the Perth Scorchers on. Livingston, of course, for a second time, but Roy for a first. This is their second game of the campaign. Roy on 30 will guide that ball down to third man. You saw the wrist just to work the ball away down to the fielder for a single. Takes him to 41, brings Livingston back on strike, and 48 for no wicket now. 2 balls left this 6th over. What I'd like to do, Henry, just at the end of this over, as it is New Year's Eve, is just give a couple of mentions to people involved with cricket who've been included on the New Year's honours list. Maybe not hugely widely recognisable names, but certainly it's right that we should give them a mention, as we will, as Worrell comes in and bowls and trying to heave that one away. Livingston stand back and try and smash the ball. He's only faced 9 deliveries. He doesn't get anything on that, so he remains on 7, and the score at 48 for no wicket. 1 ball left of the 6th over. And also been nice to hear from people as well as we come towards the end of this calendar year into the next one. We all know that we want next year to be a lot better than this one. It may take a little while, but the thing you're most looking forward to perhaps next year cricketing wise, and this one is played just down behind square where Weatherald will do the fielding, so that completes that 6th over. 48 for no wicket. Roy on 41, Livingston on 7. You're picking up some messages on Twitter. I'm on Kevin Howell 6. You can DM me if you want to get a message through to me, but we're running also the TMS Twitter feed, I guess, this morning for people to get in touch. That's right, Henry?
We are, yes.
Thank you.
So
okay.
At BBC TMS, at BBC TMS is the way to get in touch with us on Test Match Special, or at Henry Moran BBC. You can email tms@bbc.co.uk. So there's loads of ways you can give us a shout and tell us what you're up to.
Mike and Dave Knight we give a mention to, because they've been awarded British Empire medals in the New Year's honours, and that's for both voluntary service to Newport Community Cricket Club. That's the Newport in South Wales as opposed to Newport in Shropshire or elsewhere. So many thanks to them for their work, and they've been rightly given recognition there to Mike and to Dave Knight. I don't know them, and I'm just presuming they're from the same family, but maybe not. But to Mike and Dave, many congratulations to you. Now Danny Briggs is about to come into the action to bowl his first delivery of the evening. And it's the start of the 7th over, and it's Roy who is batting, and he will drive that ball out towards mid-off for a single to move his score to 42. And there's one other mention as well to Salman Bai for services to cricket and diversity in sport. So to all three, many congratulations for your mentions in the New Year's honours. And a real flourish from Livingston. Good use of the feet, but it'll just get him a single to mid-on, and he takes his score to 8 and brings up the 50 for the Perth Scorchers. Just 2 balls into this 7th over, still needing 97 of 82 for a victory, but they are well placed at the moment. And this one's lifted over the top of the circle, and there's a fielder out there. It's Worrell, right arm throw. They'll go back for 2, which will take Roy on to 44 and take the Scorchers up to 52 for no wicket.
Danny Briggs in the last game, Kevin, 3 overs, 2 for 8. It was a really outstanding performance, and you'd sense that Roy and Livingston from their approach, just trying to work him around, get the singles.
Briggs in, wraps Roy just on top of the pants and just plops in front of him, and no run.
Top of the pants?
Did I say pants?
You did.
I was thinking pads. I don't want you thinking I was thinking pants. Roy on 44. Briggs in, and that one's driven again. Uppish, just over the top of the fielders, through a gap, just about there on the offside for a single. And Livingston moves on to... Oh, shall I say, Roy moves on to 45. Briggs with one ball left of this over. 53 for no wicket. One ball left of this 7th over. Briggs in again. And a shout of yeah, no, and back. And Briggs has to go and retrieve the ball himself. And therefore, they both get back into their ground. And Roy and Livingston will just have a little word about communication, but it's all okay. 7 overs gone, 53 for no wicket, and Briggs has conceded 5 runs from that, his first over. The strikers at this stage were 56 for 2, so 53 for no wicket. Tells a tale of most definitely with the rate, and having not lost any wickets, they're going on very nicely here, Henry.
They are indeed, yeah, and it's just a reminder of that bash boost target, that halfway point in the second innings. If you can be ahead of the side you're playing where they were in the first innings, you get that bonus point. So their target is 76 after the first 10, so well on course for that. And yeah, do send in your sort of hopes and aspirations and what you might be looking forward to cricket-wise in 2021. I think the one thing for me, Kevin, if I may, is just crowds back at cricket, because sport is nothing without people watching it and enjoying it. And for me, any opportunity we can get to have crowds back in, I don't mind, if the teams I support lose every single game, but if crowds can be in there to watch, that is the most important thing.
You and I both follow football teams for which we've got used to the idea of not really caring whether our team wins or draws, but it's just the atmosphere. It's the routine, it's the being there, the belonging. And we really do hope for that next year, of course. Roy is on 45. Next delivery down the leg side and swept away beautifully, or pulled away, shall I say, by Roy. That's going to be another boundary. Just beats the fielder running round, but with no real effort to try and get to the ball. It always had the better of him. So it's another boundary to the total. 57 for no wicket in the 8th over, and Roy moves along to 49 here. 8 fours and a 6. They did find that the boundary for the 4s sort of okay, did the strikers, but they cleared the boundary only once so far, and that was late on. We've during the power surge here, we've already got a 6 on the board, and Roy is on 49, and the next delivery, spoon in the air and caught, and it's Rashid who takes the catch, and Roy is gone. He's out for 49, caught in the offside. Agar, the bowler, and that's 57 for the loss of 1 wicket in the 8th over, and Roy goes.
He's furious with himself as well, as we see on our monitors. He's walking off, he's shouting, he's looking at the pitch, and leading edge just leapt up, and it's a sort of nothing shot from him. And Jason Roy, for all of his quality in the attack that we've seen from him, when he tries to play a defensive shot, he just comes a little unstuck. And Wes Agar gets the wicket of the England batsman. He's done a good job, Jason Roy, no question. 49 from 32 is a very healthy return. But considering the fragility of this Perth Scorchers batting lineup, the value of that wicket is an enormous one in the context of this game, you feel?
Yeah, I totally agree. But it's now for the other batters to think, right, OK, well, in Roy and Livingston, they've got us off to a good start. This is going to be different, and we will now go on and make the most of it. But that's easier said than done. Dave Halliday has been in touch. He's direct messaged me, DM me at Kevin Howells 16. Loving the comms. Hi to you all and a happy new year. Dave, we really look forward to seeing you again next year. We've missed your company at Emirates Old Trafford, so we're looking forward to seeing Dave back in action, looking after us as only Dave can. Terrific lad, and we thank him for getting in touch, and you can do the same, as Henry has said, through the TMS feed, and also at Kevin Howells 16 on DM if you'd like to get in touch with me. It'd be lovely to hear from you. In the meantime, back to the action with Agar in and bowling, and this one is whipped away on the leg side square towards the leg boundary, and a run has been added to the score, if not 2. They've come back for a second. So midway through this 8th over, 58 for 1 for this bash boost point for the Scorchers. They need 18 runs off 15 balls. Obviously, if they can defend that, the strikers, they will pick up the point. Munro is the new batter out there. He's just picked up that single, and Livingston is 8 not out. He's facing now as Wes Agar comes into bowl. A grunt from the bowler in the air. Is that a superb catch? I think it is. What a take. Another wicket in this over. The second for the over. Carey, sensational dive to his right-hand side, and in no time, Jason Roy is out. Now Liam Livingstone has departed as well. It's 58 for 2. What an over. This is for the strikers. 58 for 2 in the 8th over.
Livingston goes 8 from 13. It really isn't what he's been brought into this side to do. And again, it was a nothing shot, just trying to leave it very late. Finds the shoulder of the bat and flies through to Carey, and that's disappointing to Hugh as well, who's got in touch with us and says, I was planning to go on a bike ride listening to TMS on my first day after isolation, but the Salford snow means I'm now listening, lounging on the sofa, and I'd like a 50 from Liam Livingstone. Well, I'm afraid it's just the 8 from Liam Livingstone, but thank you for being with us, Hugh, and we'll wait and see whether this start from the Perth Scorchers opening pair is enough to give them a boost, not just in terms of getting to the halfway point ahead, but also potentially winning this game. They need 18 from 14 for the bash boost point. 58 for 2 is their score, and that target for victory, the all-important target for victory, is 147.
Josh Inglis, who didn't open, he's come in now as the new batter, and as Henry said, it probably won't take a lot to disturb the confidence of the Perth Scorchers, and having just seen the end of Jason Roy and Liam Livingstone so quickly in succession, what can they do? Where's Agar in and bowls again, and this one is directed down towards backward point to Weatherald, who will do the fielding, and no run. 1 ball left of the 8th over. So Wes Agar with 2 wickets in this over. Important breakthroughs, getting rid of the dangerous Jason Roy, the dangerous Liam Livingstone. They've got them off to a good start, but there's a lot more to be done if the Scorchers are finally to get a win in BBL 10. Agar should be the last ball of the over. He's in now and bowls, and use of the wrists onto the onside to go through for a single. So that now is both the batters off the mark with 1 next to their name. 59 for 2 after 8 overs. 12 balls in which to score 17 runs. It looks as if the Scorchers were easily making their way to that bash boost point. Doesn't look so easy now.
No, it doesn't. It's wickets always slow things up, don't they? A very good morning to Jackie, who's listening and says, looking forward to sitting in the freezing cold watching Northants playing. I'm watching the grey skies and hoping it's not going to rain. Jackie, thank you for getting in touch. I love being at Wantage Road, all the sort of funny intricacies you get at some grounds around the country. In Wantage Road, the press box that we work at there, you got up the wooden stairs and sit amongst the crowd as well on summer's evenings watching the T20 matches. Jackie, I hope very much that you'll be able to be back there watching Northants in action this coming summer. We're so hopeful that might happen. Thank you for getting in touch with us today.
I like that ground so much I managed to get myself locked in twice.
Yes.
And despite everybody's protests, they let me out. The next delivery is worked away onto the onside. Start of this 9th over. Inglis will move to 2, and it's 60 for 2. In the 9th over, Rashid Khan is doing the bowling. Riccardo Rossini has been in touch as well. He's DM'd at Kevin Howell 16. He's a Sussex fan, and he's got an interesting thought ahead of the next season. I say an interesting, a nice positive thought, which I'll pass your way in a moment. But talking of positivity and Sussex, it's Rashid Khan, but he's in the colours of the Adelaide Strikers, and he's going to bowl to Munro, who's on 1 not out. Looking to reverse this, hits him in the front of the stumps. He was looking to reverse it, hit him in the body, maybe a little bit too high, but it's not an appeal anyway. But he didn't get hold of that. Tried to put plenty on it and got nothing on it, but they do scamper through for a single. The score moves to 61 for 2 in this 9th over, and Rashid is bowling his 2nd over. He's 2 balls into it, and he's in now and bowls to Inglis, and driven and very nicely stopped. It was travelling out there at extra cover. The crowd for one moment thought it had carried, and for the moment they think it's carried, I'm thinking, did it carry? But no, but he was still straight to the field of it, was travelling, so a good stop. Next delivery, playing back, and again trying to use the wrists, Inglis, to find a gap big enough just to scamper a single, but he can't do so he remains on 2. 61 for 2. 2 balls left of the 9th over, and Rashid trying to put more pressure on. Having taken those 2 wickets in the previous over with Wes Agar, Rashid just trying to tighten the screw here a little bit more, playing back. English should find enough space on the onside to gather 1. Will they come back for 2? They'll try their hardest, and they do. And he moves to 4, and it's 63 for 2 in the 9th over.
Nice to see another tight, close bash boost chase in the middle of an innings. Got one yesterday, and it adds something. I mean, I wonder if Rashid Khan would have been bowling this over were it not for what's on the line so soon.
1 ball left of this over, leaning back and trying to find a gap, and does so behind square on the offside for a 4 here, Inglis. So it's back on again, picks up a boundary, takes his score to 8, and takes the Scorchers after 9 overs to 67 for 2, and it's 9 now off this last over of the 10 for the bash boost point. 9 fours and a 6. I'd like to say hi again to Ricardo then. As a Sussex fan, I'm looking forward to seeing how the new joint coaching team of James Kirtley and Ian Salisbury get on at the start of the post-Gillespie era. Keep up your good work, says Richard, who's listening in Malvern, a Sussex fan, for listening in beautiful Malvern. So thank you for getting in touch, Ricardo. As I say, you can do likewise as well at Kevin Hull 16 on DM.
Tim in Kent says, just hoping to take my place at the Nackington Road end at Canterbury in April and watch the evergreen Darren Stevens bamboozle yet more county batsmen. I think that's a statement you could repeat probably for the next 2 decades, the way things are going, Tim. But fingers crossed.
Indeed so. And there's a player that would come out well in Moneyball, wouldn't he? Darren Stevens, his numbers would stack up, most definitely. Munro is on strike. He's 1 not out, and Worrell is going to bowl his final over here. His 3 so far have conceded 26 runs. They're looking really to get in amongst this Perth Scorchers top order here. They will get 1 run and only 1 down towards the boundary. So Munro to 2, and the score up to 68 for 2 in the 9th over. A reminder about the significance of this, especially for the Scorchers. They've played 1 game fewer than the others, but they are really in desperate position really for trying to get a win, because to say they're off the pace is not far wrong really, when only 2 points have been gathered from 4 games. That's 3 defeats, and they sit there bottom at the moment. Inglis on 8, trying to work the ball just wide to the right of the keeper, but doesn't get anything on it, and he's grateful for not getting an edge because it's straight through to Kiri, the keeper. So the score remains 68 for 2 in this 10th over.
Well, the pressure's now on, isn't it? 8 from 4. Do they chance their arm and risk losing another wicket with the vulnerability, as we say, that we've seen in the lower order for the Scorchers? If they were 1 down maybe, but 2 down.
I would say they shouldn't, unless it really is in the slot and to be hit. But we've seen players who've felt the ball was there to be hit, and they just haven't got hold of it. So it's a dangerous game, that one. Inglis on 8. Next delivery. Do they find a gap? So 2 more runs added to the total, 70 for 2 midway through this 10th over. The game within a game. Who's going to pick up the bash boost point? The Strikers or the Scorchers?
6 from 3, that's what they need. So it really is right in the balance.
And Worrell will come in again to bowl to Inglis. He again uses the wrists neatly out through mid-wicket, but there is a man out there. It's Renshaw with a right arm throw, and they'll go through for a couple of runs, and the score will move to 71 for 2. 6 off 3 balls, no, 72 for 2, that's right. Thought the ball hadn't moved around. 72 for 2, so it's 4 off 2 deliveries. We've got Worrell with 2 balls remaining of his final over, and he's bowling to Josh Inglis on 12 not out. Bowls now, and looking just to guide that, and just pushing at it really, and it's a little bit dicey to say the least. He'll get nothing from it. It's a dot ball. So 1 ball remaining of this 10th over at 72 for 2. Final game of cricket in this year of 2020. There was a time when we wondered, I guess, that whether we see any cricket. So the fact we have seen as much as we have done is a bonus. But of course, as Henry has made mention, certainly at home in the UK, so few people, and very few people, have had the opportunity to get into a ground and watch the game. In Australia and New Zealand, it's a different sort of story, especially New Zealand. In Australia, the grounds are by no means full to capacity. There are only limited numbers allowed in, but that is something that we hope, at least the minimum for us this summer. Inglis on 12, he will pull this one behind square on the leg side. That will be a boundary. And the 4 runs have been scored, and therefore the bash boost point will go to the Scorchers. They win the bash boost point. It seems almost like time to lift a trophy for them. It's been such a struggle so far in the competition, but it's 76 for 2 after 10 overs. To go on and take all the victory points, they need another 71 from 60 deliveries. They've been put in this position thanks to Jason Roy and Liam Livingston with that platform at the top, but now Munro and Inglis are the not-out pair. Munro on 2, Inglis on 16, and 35 runs off the 4 overs from Worrell. The strikers at this stage were 74 for 5, and this is 76 for 2. So the Scorchers still on course here.
Thank you very much indeed, Kevin. You'll be back with us for the final 5 overs of the innings. The scoreboard actually initially said the strikers had won the bash boost point. I think they were expecting it was going to go that way, but the little conversation that took place between Inglis and Munro looked to say almost just go for it. I think it's worth us doing. Let's get this bash boost point, and they've done just that with a nicely struck 4 behind square on the leg side. So 76 for 2 after 10. And the bash boost point has been acquired by the Perth Scorchers. So their target for victory is another 71 runs from 60 balls. Michael Carberry, former Scorchers and England batsman, is alongside me. And Carbs, that feels like a significant moment, perhaps, to give them a bit of confidence that the big prize of the victory could be theirs.
It's more like it, isn't it? Eh? Good start from the men in orange. Yeah, much better performance today with the bat. Unfortunately, yeah, Jason Roy got a great start. Unfortunately, when he got out, actually, he was just starting to look good. Ball just bouncing him. Not sure. Got a little bit caught half and half between sort of trying to defend it and push it for one. Unfortunately, took sort of the, looks like leading edge, high shoulder, leaving Livingston. A bit of a stodgy innings from him today. Didn't look the easiest wicket to come out and strike the ball, but yeah, just one that's bounced on him. But yeah, it's just been so far a very professional performance from the Scorchers. They haven't panicked, which is great. Now it's just key for these two to get a little partnership going. For strikers to win it from here, you think they have to bowl the Scorchers out, really. They've got the run rate down to a manageable 7.1 required and over, so should be hopefully plain sailing from here.
You are a man of optimism, Michael.
Man of faith.
Munro looking for a big sweep into the leg side, but Rashid Khan's first delivery of his 3rd over bamboozles the batsman and flies through to that one slip in place. And so it is a dot ball to start this 11th over. Of course, the power surge is available now as Munro goes for the switch hit, plays it beautifully as well. It goes flying away towards the boundary, and it will be 4.
Yeah, you always felt Rashid is going to gently to Munro, having nicked him off in the previous game using the googly. You're not sure that Munro's really sort of picking Rashid from the hand, so you kind of felt something was brewing from Munro. He was going to try and get something up and over that point region, which did to great effect.
Rashid Khan 0 for 17 so far, not his best day, but this could be an opportunity for a wicket, is it? He's convinced, imploring the umpire, who eventually puts the finger up. And Munro looks at the pitch, looks at the umpire, and turns on his heel to walk off for 6. He's gone 80 for 3, and Rashid Khan does strike.
Yeah, you never felt Munro was at the races against Rashid Khan. Just swinging like a bit of a rusty gate, not really picking it from the hand, and just picking the wrong one to slog sweep, and that looked very adjacent to me. I thought hit on somewhere on the back thigh, right in front of all 3. So another wicket. Maybe I've talked it up too soon.
What have you done, Michael? It's one of those that it looked, on first viewing, that it might have pitched outside the line of the leg stump, but it was probably just about okay. And
missing leg, missing off. Hit middle.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. It was one of those where as soon as the umpire could be sure that it was pitching in line, there wasn't going to be much to save the batsman. Height was never an issue. And so a wicket falls, 80 for 3 midway through the 11th over. 67 needed from 57. And though they are only 3 down and they got the experience of Mitch Marsh coming in, they do have this experience of having lost. Experience comes in many forms. You can have experience of victory and experience of defeat in recent memory, and that could be the thing that just maybe gives the strikers a bit of hope in this game, because they'll feel like this is a side that once you get wickets, you can get lots of them.
And this is where cricket now is very much played in the mind, you know. You can go very much in your shell because of what's gone on previously, or, you know, it's trying to stay in the present, trying to play each ball on merit.
Mitch Marsh waiting for Rashid Khan. It's spooned up in the air and it's going to evade the fielder nearest to it, who's running actually round from slip. It wasn't too far from that man running round. I can't see who it was. Maybe Wes Agar, but
creative shot first.
It was
ball,
a bold. I mean, you say cricket's played between the ears. I'm not quite sure what was going through Mitchell Marsh's mind then.
And this is the thing I talk about. You know, that panic. You know, it's so much. You know, this is to most teams. This is quite an easy phase. You know, you've got the run rate now down to under 7s. Just normal cricket shots prevail. But when you're in a losing setup and things haven't gone your way, and you've had a run of being bowled out for under 100, which the Scorchers had this year, you can see that little bit of panic sets in. You're trying to be a little bit too creative when you don't need to. And for someone like Rashid Khan, you know he's the danger man on this wicket.
Next ball is worked into the leg side. Had a little paddle down for 2 as well in there. They're going to push for that second run if it's there. No, not. End of the over. 11 gone. 85 for 3. A very good morning to Karen, who's following the action and watching the slushy snowfall in Newquay in West Wales. He says, Karen says, I say, we've been so thankful for all the cricket that we've been able to listen to with TMS throughout the year, especially the wonderful West Indies series that kicked things off back in the summer, of course. I'm really looking forward to being at the ODI against Pakistan at Sophia Gardens in July. Fingers crossed. Many thanks to all of TMS for your company in 2020, and a very happy new year to all. A very happy new year to you as well, Karen, watching the snowfall in Newquay in West Wales. Hope you're staying safe and warm there. And we've got, I think, potentially a really interesting conclusion to this game. We've got not just the outcome of this match, but the Jason Gillespie Trophy up for grabs. The Adelaide Strikers coach is an impressive looking trophy as well. It's sort of tall and wooden and made up of
Aboriginal heritage to it, I think.
And with a cricket ball in amongst it. And the equation for the Scorchers to win that trophy is 62 from 54 balls with 7 wickets in hand. Peter Siddle bowling to Mitchell Marsh, defended back up the track. Siddle has had to hand over the cap for the leading wicket taker of the tournament to Wes Agar during this innings, with those 2 wickets that Agar took in the same over to remove Roy and Livingston. And Marsh and Inglis looking to rebuild things a little bit. 85 for 3. Marsh on strike. Ooh, leaps up and hits the splice of the bat. Into the offside it goes. Rashid Khan will field. 1 run taken.
It's in that length, hasn't it, all day, really? It's just, you'd say, just back of a fullish length, and seems to be a little bit of pop bounce, which the batsmen struggle to deal with, either attacking and defending. And Peter Siddle, no better man to exploit that sort of length. You know, obviously very good test bowler in his time, made a career just hitting that nagging length.
Siddle to Inglis, leaning forward and clipping the ball out to deep mid-wicket for 1. It'll only be that single. 87 for 3. Robert Evans says, I'm looking forward to walking back into Lords with a smile on my face, slap on the factor 50, and then watch Middlesex be ordinary. Is that too much to ask?
That's a bit harsh, isn't it,
Robert? Well, I'm keeping everything crossed, so that's the case for you. Well, apart from the Middlesex being ordinary for you. Mitchell Marsh is defending, but finds the gap on the leg side. Will get 1.
I'm a Surrey lad, mate, so yeah, long may it continue, eh?
88 for 3. There's no need for this. It's New Year's Eve, Michael. We're trying to be positive about what 2021 can bring. A supporter in the crowd, as we're seeing on our monitors, holding up an excellent sign that says Super Siddle and has Peter Siddle sort of dressed up as a kind of Superman-like character. He's amazing, isn't he, how he keeps going. He just keeps on churning in these overs, Peter Siddle. He's rolling in now to bowler Inglis, who's working the ball out to deep mid-wicket for a single.
It's like a fine wine, Peter Siddle, isn't he? He's just getting better and better, you see, with age.
Yes.
Not sure about the hairdo, but yeah, he's a fine bowler. I mean, I remember facing Peter Siddle probably at his peak when he was an out-and-out fast bowler. Generally used to bowl up around 90 mile an hour, but now he's probably dropped down a gear, but now he's got skill and nous.
Siddle bowling to Marsh, beauty that flies past the outside edge. Dot ball. If a fine wine had a bleached blonde pearl.
I'm not one to talk about it. I'll keep out of this one.
So, Nicky says, I'm just looking forward to going to Taunton, sitting on Gimblets Hill, watching Somerset play with Tractor, who's a well-known fan down at Somerset, shouting, "Come on, my babbies, nearly there," in the background.
I like it. You did find a picture of me with here, didn't you, early on?
I know.
Yeah. You were shocked, weren't you?
No,
you was like, who's he?
Well, we were discussing cricketing kits of yesteryear, and we searched on the internet for, Michael Carberry's early career, and we found a picture from 1999.
Good grief.
And
fresh-faced 18-year-old, 19-year-old.
You haven't aged a bit.
Oh, thank you, Carbs.
Come on.
Too kind. Too kind. You haven't seen me first thing in the morning.
It's a very strict beauty regime, firstly.
Yeah, of course, mate. There's a lot of prep that goes into this, mate, every morning.
89 for 3, 12 overs gone, as Danny Briggs comes into bowl to Joss Inglis, who's defending with a sort of forceful push, which actually finds a gap down to Worrell at long off, and he'll pick up one to start the over. And the score 90 for 3. Just a reminder, the Scorchers have won the Bash Boost point. Their target for victory 147. So they're on course at the moment. Marsh, cry of catch, leading edge. Oh, just through the gap in the covers. He's got lucky, Mitch Marsh, and yet more evidence that this ball is just sticking in the pitch a touch.
Yeah, Danny Briggs, not a renowned turner of the ball, but he generally bowls quite quick into the surface. So the Scorchers batsman will just have to be a little bit aware.
Briggs bowling to Inglis. That's a good looking shot, and he's going to get 4 as well. A fielder in the deep's not that far from it, Renshaw, but he's given himself room and lofted it away over the covers for a boundary, and it's 52 needed from 45.
That's taken some real bravery from Joss Inglis, having seen the previous ball hold up in the pitch to advance and give himself room, but played it beautifully over extra cover.
Next ball is cautiously played deep in the crease is Briggs, and defending into the leg side. Inglis is playing a sensible knock here. He's going at a decent rate, 24 from 17, but if it's not there to be hit, he's not being tempted to do anything too wild.
It's good old-fashioned cricket, isn't it, really? He's played a great hand so far.
Next ball from Briggs, driven off the back foot from Marsh out to wide, long off. And one more taken, so one ball left of the 13th over. 97 for 3, 50 needed from 43. 95 times out of 100 a team wins from this position. Briggs bowling to Inglis, single taken.
You actually find that on these used wearing pitches, this is sometimes where I think being a batting purist that I was, it's a good test. It sometimes produces some of the better games. In a world now where it's all power hitting and clearing the front leg, it's nice to know that there's still the batsmanship, elements of batsmanship that comes into it, having to navigate your way through certain different conditions, and testing your skills in different ways and your concentration levels.
Scorchers desperate for a victory. They're rock bottom at the moment. Their only points before tonight coming from the 1-0 result they had from a rained off game. And so with the Bash Boost point already in the bag, can they get the win that would see them actually move up a couple of places to 6th to drop the Renegades to the bottom and then Heat down to 7th? So there is quite a lot on the line for the Scorchers, and they're not quite at last chance saloon, but they do need to start picking up wins. Agar, 2 for 15 for him so far. He's bowling to English. Ball that tails in towards the right-handed batsman. He gets one down the ground to Briggs, who picks up and throws. 48 needed from 41.
And that's nice cricket from Joss Inglis. You know, it's not a ball anyone will remember in the grand scheme of things, but that's just, you know, good old-fashioned Agar, who's bowled really, really well in this spell. You know, he's kept a very tight line to the stumps and just presenting full face of the bat, knocking it down the ground. Take your medicine. Over to you, Mitchell Marsh. See what you can do.
Marsh on 9 as Agar steams in once more. Rocking it on the back foot is Marsh, running it to backward point. Floodlights fully taken over at the Adelaide Oval. The sun has set, another glorious Adelaide sunset. Not far now from New Year in South Australia. The local time is now, let me just try and work this out. Oh, I've given myself too big a task here. I'm going to work it out. It's half past 9.
You're too far in now. You kept us waiting now.
It's 9:30, 2.5 hours to go. Marsh is launching the ball into the air. He's not got hold of it, has he? Oh, he may have got just enough. He does. It's cleared the field. He took one hand off the bat. He was looking to the heavens thinking, what have I done? Well, what you've done, Mitchell Marsh, is hit the first 6 of this innings. 6 runs and the 100's up, 105 for 3.
And let me tell you, if anyone can miss him for 6, it's Mitchell Marsh. He's a very powerfully built young man. Yeah, he got it. You felt that he got it somewhere up around the toe of the bat, but kept going with the shot, which was, I suppose, what really helped him get away with it.
Marsh on 15. This time through the offside will get at least 1. You can hear the cry of 2. And they will get back for that second. They're quick enough. The throw's a direct hit. The bails light up. And the umpire has a think and says, no, there's no point in us going. And looking upstairs, he might have a New Year's Eve party to go to or something. No, you don't. Something to keep him keen to see this one rattling through.
Socially distanced.
Yeah, absolutely. 40 needed from 38. This is in hand for the Scorchers at the moment. I'm not tempting fate. I'm just calling it as I see it. Yes. A former Perth Scorcher,
we like to think so.
To my right, is getting nervous. 107 for 3. Mitch Marsh is on 17 as Agar bowls to him. It's lofted down the ground. That's a lovely shot. If the 6 earlier in the over seemed to lack a little bit of control, this lofted drive over mid-off for 4 runs was timed beautifully, fully controlled. 111 for 3.
Yeah, great shot for Mitch Marsh. So Agar wasn't a bad ball, really, you'd say. And Mitch Marsh, this is what he can do. You know, full extension, back over the bowler's head, and just controlled, wasn't it? Didn't try and overhit it.
So 36 needed from 37. It's down to less than a run a ball. It'll take some collapse not to win from here for the Scorchers. The Adelaide strikers, who were excellent in the last game, struggling a bit with the ball. Marsh chases a wide ball. It's chopped away out towards the cover point boundary, where it's well fielded by John O'Wells, and the over comes to an end. 14 gone, 112 for 3, and real credit to the strikers last time out. They were superb and dominated as they bowled out the Perth Scorchers for 94. Their effort with the bat today on a stodgy pitch looked to be a pretty healthy one. 146 for 9. It was, you know, not terrible, but perhaps the 3 only scoring in double figures will be a concern. Alex Carey made 82, Danny Briggs 10, and Matt Renshaw 19. Otherwise, it was all single-figure scores. But they'll be thinking that, you know, with the Scorchers as they are, if they don't win this game, they don't look like they're going to. It could be a real dent in their confidence, considering the form that the Scorchers have had.
Yeah, and also, you know, the decision to leave the surge so late.
Rashid Khan into his final over. Sees the ball driven out to deep cover for 1. 114 for 3, 33 needed from 35.
You know, we were talking about it in the break. You know, should have Alex Carey have taken it when the likes of Rashid Khan came in? I'm not sure that combination of short coming in for Rashid really worked. Almost chewed up maybe 8 to 10 balls that Rashid Khan could have utilised a little bit better. And you think, you know, stick maybe 15, 20 runs on this target, suddenly looks a very different game.
Marsh on 23. He's deep in his crease, hammering the ball into the leg side, and gets 1 run up to long on. Nothing more. Messages still coming in regarding what people are looking forward to in 2021. Radio 4's Andrea Catherwood sends us a message. Says she's looking forward to sitting in my fold-up chair watching one of my boys playing school cricket, as Inglis is happy to pick up one into the leg side. They just want to see this over out at the moment because it's Rashid Khan's final one. They know that once you get through Rashid Khan, things get a little bit easier. 3 left in the over. Andrea, lovely to have you with us. Mitch Marsh on 24 is on strike, right-hander. There's a slip waiting. Forward in defence is Marsh. Sensibly played. Adelaide strikers trying to put the pressure on with that slip, trying to do anything they can to break a partnership that's at the moment guiding the Scorchers to their first win in this season.
Yeah, just playing it nice and sensibly. I don't think there's any need to panic at this stage. You feel almost one big over and it's game over really for the strikers. But yeah, just got to see Rashid Khan off here.
Mitch Marsh deep in the crease. Well, it's short and wide, and he's not going to miss out on an opportunity for scoring runs, and he's flashing it down to the third-man boundary. A rare loose ball from Rashid Khan has been punished by the Australian all-rounder. He's on to 28. It's 27 to win from 31.
Yeah, Rashid Khan, I guess, getting probably a little bit greedy, trying to maybe one of his variations, not quite getting it right, and Mitchell Marsh chopping that behind point for a boundary, a welcome boundary, you would say, just to again further take some of the pressure off that Scorchers lower order.
Marsh again looking to make the most of a short delivery from Khan, and he doesn't get hold of it this time, and it's swept hard but into the body, and it's a dot ball to finish the over. So 27 needed from 30, 120 for 3 is the score after 15. And Kevin Howes, just before I hand to you, let me read an email from Derek McCallum, MBE, who gets in touch and says, hi, thanks for going above during what must have been a very difficult year to have provided what you guys have. As a blind listener, I get all my cricket and all my sport via 5 Live and 5 Live Sports Extra. You've kept so many people going during this most difficult of years. I only hope you're able to continue to bring us even more cricket during 2021. Today is my 135th live game on radio this year, so I've not missed too many. Derek, thank you for being with us. It's a joy to, I have to say, a real privilege to have been able to cover cricket this year of all years. I'm saying goodbye for 2020 for now, but thank you everybody who's been with us. Kevin Howes, take us through for the end of the game, and look forward to speaking to you soon.
Don't know about you, Cobbs, I'm welling up there. I'm welling up. The truth of it is, that's a terrific email, and thank you very much, Derek. But the truth of it is, we have been the lucky ones. We've been able to get into the grounds and watch the players who really put on a terrific show in very testing and tricky circumstances. Not as testing as tricky as many other people in the walk of life, but to everyone involved, many congratulations and thank you for that lovely email, Derek. 120 for 3 then, and the power surge, Michael Carberry, 27 needed off 30 balls, and it's Agar who's going to come in and bowl to Inglis, and the first delivery of this power surge will be a boundary. Beats the fielders just backward of square on the offside. There's nobody out in the deep. It's a boundary and a good start to this power surge for Inglis. He moves to 32, takes the Scorchers to 124 for 3.
Yeah, great shot from Inglis. He's really played well in this knock so far. Been really impressed with him. He's, looks better suited to this role, I would say. He's come in and worked the ball around. He's been busy. He's been aggressive when he's needed to be, but just again played good cricket shots. Ball short and wide, punch it through the offside.
Agar again around the wicket to Inglis, and Inglis will work that one behind square on the onside this time. It's a Dan Worrell stop, and just 1 to the total. Inglis to 33, and we're 2 balls into this 16th over, so the Scorchers surely are not going to mess it up from here. 125 for 3. He says this through gritted teeth, really, but that's because I've even as on social media distance, I've been feeling the pain of the Scorchers supporters. They've not been a happy bunch. No. And they're
very proud.
Yeah,
I can tell you.
So even they will be thinking, surely not. Are we going to do it? Mitchell Marsh is on 28. Agar comes over the wicket to him. That's a low full toss. Helped on its way. That's a 4. They're going there in style in this power surge. A boundary for Marsh takes him to 32, and the Scorchers 129 for 3 midway through the 16th over.
Yeah. Where's Agar? He's been good up to now, but last over or so he's been punished, getting that one wrong, full toss down the leg side, and Mitch Marsh swinging that away. And you'd say now foot down, get this game over and done with for the Scorchers, get that win, that first win.
Marsh 32 not out. Agar bowls to him, and against a low full toss just on the leg stump, and it goes exactly the same place. There's a fielder out there this time, Renshaw, but he can't get to it. It's another boundary. It's 36 not out to Marsh, 133 for 3.
Yeah, good fist pump from the captain. He's happy. Two and two balls. I think he wants to get this over and done with quickly, get in and celebrate what's been a long-awaited win for the men in orange.
That's right. I mean, we talk about confidence. Well, there's the confidence of the victory. There's the confidence in how you get that victory as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And they've showed a lot of character today, I have to say. That, you know, it's not been an easy win. The wicket's not been what you say a flat wicket. It's not been a bad wicket, but certainly not a flat wicket. And they've had to, as I say, navigate their way around the conditions. But I think it's shown the benefits of just going back to basics, playing calm cricket, not panicking. And it's served them well today.
14 required, 26 balls remain, and Agar has 2 balls left of his final over. Where's Agar? 2 for 43, 2 wickets in that 1 over. Question marks started to be asked. It was the end of Roy and Livingston almost immediately afterwards. So at that stage there was work to be done by Perth. But Marsh hits him in the body there, high up. A real tricky delivery from Agar. Where did that strike him? On the helmet? I think we might have. Well, we should probably have a bit of a break. He's sticking his thumbs up to everybody, but the thumb up is okay, and the smile is good, but probably just seeing. Let's see where he was struck on that. Oh, right on the side there.
On the chops.
Yeah. So he's telling everybody he's okay, but I think we might still get a visit from. I don't think it's actually anybody to do with the club. These things. It might actually be an independent person. He doesn't want a delay, does he? He wants to carry on, but look. It's safety first, and rightly so.
Absolutely right, yeah. Just go through the protocols just to make sure, more importantly, his welfare is good. I think the helmet took majority of that on the grill. It's again one of those balls from Wes Agar. He's had a few in this bowling innings so far where it's just sort of back of the length. You've seen a little bit of steep bounce. It's almost the seam grips into the pitch, and the ball stands up. And Mitch Marsh just obviously threw the pull a little bit early, just took his eye off it, and it clocked him a good one on the side of the chin. But he's a tough lad. They're made tough in Western Australia. He would have seen this a lot of the time, batting at the whacker, excessive bounce. It wouldn't perturb him too much, I would have thought.
James Moore has DM'd me at Kevin Howell 16. Thank you for the commentary. A bit of warmer sunshine than me on my West Wales beach. He says, really looking forward.
That'd be chilly, would it?
It says, really looking forward to the first test, second day at Trent Bridge against India. Tickets bought, hotel booked. I'm taking my 2 teenage boys and my 80-year-old father-in-law, who has not been anywhere all year. Also trying to get tickets for the Lord's Test. Also, I'm taking my wife to the Birmingham Tail Enders Tour night as well. Big exclamation mark saying exciting. Have a great year, James Moore and family, and thank you for getting in touch with us today. 14 needed off 25 deliveries for the Scorchers. Mitchell Marsh on 36, Inglis 33. Peter Siddle is all smiles out there. P. Siddy, they call him apparently. There's so many nicknames. I swear that we've got more nicknames now with the introduction to franchise cricket than ever we've had before. We've always had nicknames, Carbs, but yes. I think the nicknames are becoming more and more prevalent as March is on 36 down the leg side, and there will be no run. And of course for Marsh it would be Boggy, wouldn't it? Probably a nickname of Boggy. We're getting more inventive, I think, with the nicknames as well, which is
Swampies.
Swampies, right?
Yeah,
okay.
Swampies generally associated with the Marsh families, I would say.
133 for 3 after 16 overs then. Marsh on 36, Inglis on 33. And Agar has bowled out his 4 overs, 2 for 43. Took some important wickets, but a bit expensive out there tonight. Well, there's a little bit of quite animated chat between Siddle and the umpire here. This is over the ball. Now, I'm wondering, we had this situation last night, didn't we, about the ball getting wet and how it becomes very difficult for the bowlers. Is that the discussion you think is taking place? No, what is going on?
Sure. Something to do with it. I think he called Mitch Marsh's ball above shoulder height, I think, but it was a deflection off his. I think what Peter Siddle's saying, that it hit him on the arm and then went into his grill. I think that's
right.
I think that's what he's exclamating about.
I think they're just going to carry on with it with a Peter Siddle smile. It's the sort of smile where you're not convinced he really does mean it. Anyway, English is on 33, and that one is going to be safe, but a little bit uppish on the onside. So Peter Siddle coming back, bowling his third over, looking for something that can happen very, very quickly. They're somehow going to turn this around.
Yeah, you think this pretty much should be job done from a Scorchers point of view. Strikers, let's say, probably 15-20 runs light. I think rue the fact that they didn't take the surge a little bit sooner in their batting innings.
Inglis facing, and that's a full Yorker length delivery on the leg stump, worked away by Inglis on the onside for 1. He'll move to 34. Needed some backing up there, that throw, but there was backing up, a couple of fielders out there. So 134 for 3 in the 17th over. I've just been trying to go through some of my photographs. They're not great photos, they never are, but just looking back at the year and memory of time spent with you, Carbs. I'm sure it'll live long in your memory as well, and if not, please say it would. Of you and I at the Aegeus Bowl for a couple of weeks as Marsh there works that one away on the onside for a single. And yeah, well, they were the score here 135 for 3, because there was no hardship or complaining, but just a couple of weeks. Trapped is totally the wrong word, but at one location just for 2 weeks gives some sort of idea, but only some idea, as to what the game of cricket has been going through this year to try and get some cricket. But we were the lucky ones. Inglis on 34 will guide that behind square on the offside. It's a bump ball. A little bit of New Year frivolity there from Wetherald, I think, trying to encourage the crowd, but not out. So
bump ball, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, the crowd just wanting something to cheer.
Checking they were awake still.
Yeah, I see New Year has arrived in New Zealand, of course. We've seen the fireworks off the top of the Sky City Tower. The Siddle here, meantime, in Australia, where it's still 2020. Down the leg side, a diving stop from Alex Carey off the bowling of Peter Siddle. So 135 for 3, nothing on it. He thought for a moment maybe that just a little bit of bat or glove on that down the leg side, but 1 ball left of the 17th over. Of course, New Zealand, they really do have something to cheer in the new year, don't they? They seemingly, with a lot of hardship suffered earlier in the year, have got crowds back, and what a test match for them to enjoy as well, just on cricketing terms yesterday. Siddle into Inglis down the leg side, another diving stop from Alex Carey. Throws the ball back, and this time it is signalled the leg side wide.
Yeah, it's keeping Alex Carey busy behind there, Peter Siddle, isn't he? Trying to mix it up. A few short balls into the pitch. Looking for that sort of feather glove down the leg side. Great diving stop. But yeah, I think everyone all round would be very glad to see the back of 2020, I think.
Siddle bowls, whipped away to behind square on the onside for 1. Don't need to do anything silly now. 17 overs. I've almost forgotten the power surge there, but it's complete. 137 for 3. 10 runs needed from 18 balls with these 7 wickets standing. Siddle's gone for 15 runs from his 3 overs. So Mitchell Marsh on 37, Inglis on 35. So it looks like the Jason Gillespie Trophy will be going the way of the Perth Scorchers. Tomorrow, by the way, our next cricket, and the first cricket of the new year, will be 8:10 UK time tomorrow morning. It's the Melbourne Renegades against the Sydney Thunder, and that we talk about the Scorchers needing a win. Well, the Renegades are only now, at the moment anyway, they'll probably rock bottom by tomorrow, but they're currently still 1 point above the Scorchers. But they've lost 4 games. They won the first and then lost the next 4, so they have some work to do down at the bottom of the BBL 10 table, and a very tough game for them tomorrow against the Thunder, who are going very well at the top after 4 straight victories.
Yeah, narrowly missed out against the Sixers the other day as well.
Briggs bowling a little bit of width there and reaching for it, Inglis, but he does get bat on it, and he gets 1 run, moves to 36, and the score up to 138 for 3.
That's where the tournament gets interesting now, doesn't it? The dogfight at the bottom.
Yep.
All these teams have not had great starts, but now starting to find some form.
Briggs to Mitchell Marsh, and a full delivery, which he'll still get a single from, despite the words of encouragement from Carey. You heard that, the wicket-keeper. But Marsh moves to 38, gets the winning run scenario down to 8 off 16, 139 for 3. 2 balls into this 18th over, and Danny Briggs running his 3rd over off his little width, and that's punched high in the air. It's going to go left of Worrell, and he can't get the left hand to drag that ball back, and therefore it's a 4, and it takes the Scorchers to within 4 of victory at 143 for 3, Marsh to 38.
Yeah, another great shot from Inglis over extra cover. He's a bit masterful with this shot, just getting inside the line. Danny Briggs, so not offering a lot of turn. He's just, again, look to time it, ease it over that extra cover, and Dan Worrell wasn't able to stop it. And I think one more hit and we're all good.
We're all good. Inglis on 40. Driven hard and firm along the ground, beats Briggs. I think it's going to run all the way to the boundary for 4, and it brings up the first victory of this campaign for the Perth Scorchers. Little chuckle of happiness there from Mike Carberry. We can almost leave the programme on that note and the year. A Carberry chuckle to say the Scorchers have won by 7 wickets with 14 balls remaining as well. So what a way to win and to finish off the year. We say it was needed, and we'll see where the Scorchers go from here now in the competition in the new year. But a good solid reply from the batting element of it, and of course Jason Roy getting them off to a good start, but word to the bowlers as well that gave them that sort of position and did a really good job earlier on in the night.
Yeah, fantastic. And I said at the top of the show that Scorchers needed that complete performance with bat, ball and in the field, and did they answer the call today? I think the bowlers started off really well. The opening bowlers were much tighter on their lines, didn't bowl so short as they did in the first game, and the Adelaide strikers really struggled to get off to a flyer. They took early wickets, which you always talk about in team meetings. It's only really Alex Carey who got going with a brilliant 80 or 50 or 60 balls, but wasn't able to find support. I think again they would rue through things tactically. Did they get the surge right? Did they use Rashid Khan in the right way? It's all ifs, buts or maybes. But then out with the bat, the Scorchers I thought were really professional. Jason Roy, when he plays good cricket shots, there's no one better to watch. And unfortunately he didn't quite get to 50, but was a timely knock in the circumstances. And then obviously Mitch Marsh and Josh Inglis, who I thought played a great knock. It's not an easy circumstance. There's still a bit of work to do when those two came together, but they saw it over the line, and that will give that camp a lot of confidence going in. It's been a tough campaign for them so far, but I know Adam Voges will be more than pleased with that to get off and running.
Some thoughts here from Trent Woodhill, who we're all looking to on social media, because he's come up with the innovations, and he's sort of one of the coaches and the brains behind how the games develop, and I think he's quite heavily involved and has been in the hundreds, so we'll hear more from him next year during the English domestic season as well. But he's got 4 points here, Carbs, on the BBL 10 so far. He says carry an extra bat in your 13, so in your squad of 13, make sure you've got an extra batter in there. When batting second, excuse his use of language here, you've got to, honest to goodness, I'm only joking. When batting second, you've got to chase the bash bonus point. 3, if batting first and you lose 2 wickets in the first 10, send in a pinch hitter to try and set a bigger bash bonus point score. He was talking the other night about Rashid Khan perhaps being promoted up an order, wasn't he, to fill that role. And number 4, don't leave the power surge too late, which is what we think they did tonight. That is Alex Carey and the Adelaide strikers. Have you any quick thoughts on that from Trent?
Yeah, look, they're all very at points, but I think more importantly for this group that have been getting rolled out for under 100, I think it's important for them to play smart cricket, and that's what you've seen today. Good batsmen will always prevail. I'm not always convinced pinch hitters are the way to go. I think you've got to trust your batsmen. That's what you pay them for, to get you the runs, get you over the line. Certainly on these sort of surfaces where it's not a flat wicket, as I said, it required a little, was the pleasing aspect.
The idea of pinch hitting now, in the way that T20 cricket has developed, I mean, pinch hitting really did apply when we were first making the steps towards, from the longer game into the shorter game. I know since the early 1960s we've had one-day cricket, but pinch hitting seemed to be, if you like, the flip side of the, if you like, the traditional batters in a team who still wanted to find a place in a T20 team. But if you're not capable of moving the scoreboard along at the required rate now, I guess the question has to be asked, doesn't it, whether you're worth your spot in that team anyway? Or am I being a little bit too harsh? I mean, some of them have got some of the more traditional batters still in their teams, and they'll be coming in at 4, 5 or 6, and I suppose that's where Trent will be referring to pinch hitting. But surely you've got to be capable of doing everything, haven't you, now?
Yeah, well, that's it. That's why guys practice range hitting. But as I say, range hitting is only one part of batsmanship. You still got to be able, you still got to be able to manoeuvre the ball around, pick up the 1s and 2s. That's batsmanship. Trent Woodhill, from what I know of him, is a hitting coach, so obviously he will always lean towards the side of hitting, power hitting. But remember, batting is also a game of nous, and respecting conditions on used pitches is not